revised.
Oh, date, please. Date. Date.
Do not ask for a date.
You have to mention the date.
I was about to. Revised August 14th, 2018.
How about the 16th?
What?
How about the 16th?
This is Thursday. It was revised on the 14th. So now we're to, well, you're a little testy.
I think he's gunning for chairmanship.
I think so.
I think I would let him have it.
Thursday, August 16th, 2018.
Thank you.
We're meeting in Sturbridge Center Office Building, 301 Main Street, on the second floor. We have a quorum check of 3. CPA update. I'll pass on that for the moment. Trails Committee?
We're going to pass on trails too because they're meeting at 7 o'clock tonight, right down the hall.
Okay, all right.
Hope they shut the door.
Nothing from open
That's
space.
Tom.
I know, I hear him.
We had a CPA meeting after the last conservation meeting, and at that time, we have a new member on the CPA. Ed Neal is his name, and he represents housing, and he's aggressively trying to put together an aggressive plan for housing, which we desperately need for CPA. That was pretty much all we talked about.
That's great.
And Becky joined us at that meeting to talk about miscellaneous funds for conservation, for taking down shacks, buildings, things that are on the land that we need to get rid of. And we talked through that, and we have a plan moving forward that we'll implement on that. Specifically, we're going to get the red building on Plimpton property first. So that's pretty much all we had with CPA. So Becky, you want to go to the minutes?
Well, about lakes, Becky,
Okay.
did your team actually do the testing on Friday and Sunday?
They did do the testing. I did not. I was on vacation that week. So they did, the results have come in, which I've sent to members of Slack. So I think Dave will put his report together again and send that back to us.
Will they be putting it online as they have in the past years?
I would think so. And last year too, they actually, he wrote an article and went to the paper
Yeah.
too. But he'll send us that report, which I'll
Okay.
send you guys again. We did that last year.
Because we like the public to know that they can go to the town website and look up the lakes reports for the previous 12 years and see exactly what the conditions of the lakes have been, which in all 5 cases has not changed. It's been very good
Yeah, good.
so far.
That's one thing I was thinking about earlier today, is we don't have a liaison because we always met on the same nights that they
Right.
met. But now that we're gonna try, or at least do this trial Tuesday nights, maybe that's something that should be considered potentially.
Yeah, absolutely.
Be a really
Yeah.
good opportunity there.
Stephen and Paul don't have any association with any of the committees yet. Steve Halterman has one because he's the timber liaison. So either Stephen or Paul might be willing to pick it up, especially since they're not here tonight. We might want to take a vote. on it.
Man, we got the golden opportunity. Anything else we want them to do? Good news and bad news. You were very popular at the meeting. That's the
We
good
can
news.
talk about it next meeting too, I guess.
All right. Moving on.
Gosh, no walk-ins.
Minutes, July 19th.
I'd like to make a motion that we pass the minutes as revised. Nice job.
Thank you.
Very well done.
I admit at the end though, right?
You made me laugh at that, yeah. It must have been, it was a long meeting.
Well, you could
Oh.
tell because there was not a single bleep for like 3.5 pages. And I get down with a paragraph and a half left and I'm saying, all done, David, put your pen away. Oh, for God's sake.
All right, so do we have any,
We made a motion.
I second the motion.
all in favor?
Wow.
Boy, did you luck out that time, actually.
I think she should be.
That easy.
I think she should be promoted ahead of her peers.
Correct.
Definitely. All right, so we're down now, we want to work on, in the meantime, you want to talk about the West Nile environment?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Did you read the information I
I
provided?
did, yeah.
Okay, we printed it out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
right, I mean, it did happen last year as well. It was one pool where it was identified, I believe it was on Hall Road.
Yeah.
They were gonna be going out and spraying that area. It's also available for people if you want them to come spray your area, that information's in there, in that press release. Or if you don't want them to spray your area, I think that's something that you can request too.
And if the public has questions, they should contact the Board of Health.
Correct, Board of Health, yep, or Central Mass Mosquito Control Project.
Sounds good.
Signatures?
So I was quickly just gonna go to new business, 35 Finlay Road. This is a small property that the owner approached our town administrator about maybe making this as a donation to the town. And he had just kind of sent out an email asking us to take a look at it. So I did. So it's this small lot right here, but this property right here is ours. We have care of the Custody Conservation Commission of this property. So that would, we do have road frontage down here. Of this is, it's not a property that we're currently doing anything with.
Yeah.
That this would, even though there's wetlands here, it would give us additional road frontage, not that, you know, it would access, but it would
So
just.
your
add to
arrows are
this
too
property.
fast for me. Show me the piece that we'd be considering accepting.
So it's this, it's about 2 acres right
That
here.
square right there?
Yeah, and this is our property right here. And then, Fish and Wildlife owns this one and this one, I believe. So, I mean,
Oh, wow, so
it's a small property, but it does provide.
It's
some
contiguous.
Yep, it's contiguous, provides some additional road
And it's wet.
frontage. It's, yeah, it's probably mostly wet. We drove by, how you doing? It is, just to take a look, we didn't get out, but just to make sure that, you know, there's no violations or anything
Is
occurring.
it deep
Yeah.
wet or just a wet basin?
I didn't go in there and look, so.
Looks but blue, it looks like it's wet.
Yeah. No, that's a similar where it is.
Right, so it's probably a small wetland here that feeds
Yeah.
in and comes down here, but. So I didn't know.
Because it's contiguous, I would think that would be a good piece.
Yeah, I agree. So,
I agree. I
Do
think,
we agree? All in favor?
so we take that to town meeting,
I think that would be the next step,
right?
yeah.
Town has to approve it.
Well, we give it back to the TA, don't we?
Yep, I'll write a
With a
memo
note.
just saying that we discussed it and,
Right.
yeah, yeah. so
You know, we probably should put it on for a site visit so that we can speak intelligently about it.
Okay.
If it's really wet or marginally wet or.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
How far away is it from the person that came in 2 weeks ago from Finland?
We didn't have anyone on that road.
Actually, the guy from Finlay Road, do you remember what his address was? He called like on Tuesday when Becky was on vacation.
No, but I did take notes after downstairs. Didn't do our meeting though.
No,
Oh.
he just called and had questions relative to.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I was just curious if it was contiguous to that.
What was his question? About development or?
I'm older than 20
Okay.
minutes. Actually handled it, no problem.
All right, so that's Finley Road. We're gonna put that on our site visits and
Yep.
we're gonna put together a letter.
Yep, speaking of site visits, do we want to continue the Tuesday before our meeting for moving forward? Just keep things on the Tuesdays, I think that would make sense. It gives a little time before the next meeting.
If you change us from
I don't want
Tuesday
to.
site visits, you're gonna have to put 3 or 4 of us in therapy for a couple of months until we start showing up.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Right, just a couple of quick updates under old business. I have the 2 forest cutting plans. 205B Poda Turnpike Jennings, I talked about that one before. Our DCR forester was waiting on some additional information. He had done a site visit with them, needed him to revise some things, send that back in. That never got sent back in, so he denied it. Therefore, I mean, he had to take action on it, otherwise, if they don't apply, they can start work outside of resource areas. So that project was denied for the time being due to lack of information.
So does that mean, in fact, that he can start work?
Nope.
Period.
Yep, so I think he'd have to reapply.
So that's the confusing part, because you started out by saying he can start work outside of the resource area, but he can't start anything, can he?
Right, so if DCR didn't reply within 10 days of him submitting his forest cutting plan,
Right.
then he could
He
start
could.
work outside of resource areas.
But they did reply.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Negative.
Yep, so that should not be occurring. And then our other forest cutting plan on Route 15, Silver Tree Realty. Ed and I went out there last week because Steve was away. It was previously approved by DCR already. He went out there, talked to him about it, we'll give you some information about that. But the applicant's going to be going to the board of selectmen for their approval. So we went out, took a look at their marked example area. I didn't have any concerns with it, although there's some A&R lots in the frontage there that they've been clearing. And on the forest cutting plan, there's a small isolated wetland shown on there, so, which is adjacent to where they've been doing this work. So I sent a letter, or a letter is going out to them to get some information about that. I mean, it's an old ag field, so I'm not sure what the forester, the planning preparer that was with us, thought they had a wetland scientist go out there and had plans and stuff, so it's something we can look at.
Is the landing area anywhere near that wet area?
The landing area is gonna be down by the road, that area,
Oh,
the asphalt
okay.
millings. Yep, but they're
There's
accessing
a-
through there.
But there's like an interim landing area where it turns, that I don't know if they'll call it a landing area, but it's an open area where they turn, and that's right next to the wetland.
You mean up
That's why I was
by the house?
asking, because the
Yeah.
map made it look like, the plan made it look like it was pretty close.
Yeah.
Um,
But that's not where he's gonna have the landing. The landing's gonna go through the yard and down onto Route 15.
Yeah, we're gonna be down there, and they're
Fish.
accessing, so they're accessing, the forest cutting area going through like the A&R lot
Yeah.
to go through there.
It looked like a good plan, and it's upland, you know, you get back, there's a stream that he's gotta cross. That,
Do we know how he's going to cross the stream?
yep,
So you can't even see it on here, but, right, he's gonna do, it's a bridge. It's a
Okay.
bridge, so yeah. So right here, it's very lightly shaded, see this? I mean, I don't even think that's accurate, because this is, remember, this is the top up here? This is where we came up, and then we walked here, and that's where there was kind of like a depression in here.
yeah, it's right around in here.
Yeah, but they have the
There's
whole
an open
thing
area.
shaded.
It comes by the house,
Comes
and it
down
drops
the
down
hill.
here, and then there's an open area here, and then up behind here, there's contained, water, well, I know you'll remember when you see it.
Is it birch?
It is birch, yeah.
So-
What the definition of it is, we don't know. It's so filled with,
Well, Becky's indicating it's land subject to flooding. So that may strictly be it.
but it may not be isolated
it may
because
be-
it may come down through. The area that they trashed looks like.
Oh, it could be contiguous?
Contiguous, yeah. So-
I don't know, I mean, it was after it rained too, because we saw all that puddling down there.
Well, when didn't it rain?
I know.
Yeah.
So the A&R lots are here,
Okay.
I mean, so it's fairly close, right, where they're doing the clearing, so, you know, this first lot might be subject to our review, but
And what kind of a bridge are they using to span the stream?
I think he's just gonna build a bridge using logs, they just log trees and cut down.
Oh, so they're just
Yeah.
doing a corduroy road.
Yeah.
If that's the case, we have to make sure that they line the corduroy correctly. Because sometimes they
Well-
put it against the flow.
Well, no, he's doing a bridge over it. He's doing corduroy on the wetland crossing, but he's actually gonna do a bridge where they'll
It's-
perpendicular the
Oh,
trees.
okay.
Yep,
It's a small stream and it's cut.
yeah,
Okay, so he's going bank to bank.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I could
Yeah.
jump it 1 liter.
Geez, it don't take me 3.
Yeah,
Okay, that's good then.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's good. So, that's that one. And, oh, we're at 6:15, all right. You're
All
up.
right.
In the interest of saving time, the Sturbridge Conservation Commission will hold all public hearings tonight for work within a wetland, water body, or resource area and/or within the 200-foot buffer zone of a wetland, water body, or resource area, in accordance with the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, MGL, Chapter 131, Section 40, and associated regulations, and the Town of Sturbridge Wetlands bylaws and associated regulations. We will not be reading the newspaper ad. Prior to opening the first hearing for each project, the applicant is to submit proof of notification to abutters within the 200 feet of the subject property line, and proof of legal newspaper advertisement. If these items are not submitted, the public hearing will not open. Additionally, prior to the start of each public hearing, we will announce the location of the project, the applicant, and the applicant's representative. If any of the visitors have not legibly signed in yet, please do. Also, if any visitors are recording this meeting, please let us know. Thank you.
All right, 6:15, we have a request for determination of applicability postponed from 7/19/2018 on 112 Westwood Drive, Wild Group D, addition to a single-family home represented by BC Custom Homes.
I just want to say I have, Claire gave me the abutter notifications and the legal ad fair sheet, so.
Good afternoon, good evening, Dan Wild Group. Bob Catone, I'm the general contractor for the job.
Welcome.
So Bob, I just want to just give a little summary of what the project is.
Yeah, I can't, my hearing.
I just want to give a summary of what you're proposing to do.
On the front of the house,
You have a pointer there too, so you're.
And also, use the microphone. Not for us, for the people that are watching you
All
on
right, so-
television.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
go
this
ahead.
is the lake side, this is the street side up here. On the front of the house, you can see this little addition right here. And we're looking to add a new front step and a portico or a cover, or a roof over the front step right here. So it's a roughly 2-foot by 12-foot addition on the front of the house, and increase the size of the step to 7 feet wide, and then put a roof over that step. That's the gist of it.
Alright, so, approximately about 90 feet away from the lake, there's minimal excavation. We talked about soil stockpiling, not all soils come out, they're gonna backfill with it. We have a request for determination of applicability in front of us. I'm gonna recommend that, we issue a positive number 5, because it is subject to our local bylaw, and then a negative number 3, that it's not gonna have an impact in, we'll just add some minor conditions during work
right.
for that.
I'm ready to make a motion. I will wait.
What is going to be in front of those two minor additions?
In front, meaning towards the street.
Toward the street. not-
This area here, this is lawn. Yeah, so my driveway is here. This is a garage. There's a driveway here. This is green lawn, and along here is an existing sidewalk.
Thank you. I make a motion.
I move-
Before you do that, I want to say
Sure.
something. to the audience.
Sure.
Lenny? No? All right,
I move we close the public hearing.
Second?
any discussion? All in favor?
I move we accept the request for determination, positive 5, negative 3.
Second? Oh, with conditions? Or without?
I don't know of any conditions.
Oh, Becky had.
I just,
Sorry.
our usual, post a sign, notify us when you start work, just so we're aware. It puts something about soil stockpiling, if they do, cover it, so we don't have erosion issues. No dumping, towards the resource areas. And then just, if there are any erosion controls, they're responsible to maintain
There's no erosion controls. The house is
Right.
between it and the lake.
No, I know. It's
Okay,
just
so-
stockpiling.
Then add with the conditions.
Second?
All right, all in favor?
Man, I
Thank
know
you.
how you did that.
Simple.
Don't say a word, just get up and run.
Thank you.
Wait a minute, it just dawned on me.
Thank you.
That's only 1 month ago.
Right?
Hey,
I'm not aware that anyone is coming in for our next public hearings, the next two, which are the resource area delineation. Last time I spoke to the applicant's representative, informed them that we were waiting for a report. Didn't anticipate that we'd have a report tonight, or if we did, it would be before. So we probably wouldn't, be ready to discuss that tonight. They may still be coming in.
Okay. Is there in fact at some point within the 21st century that there will be a plan
For the sewer line?
for whatever's going to be? We got more
I don't know.
continuations on this site than Carter sells little pills in 1 year.
Yep, but part of them are ours too, because we want to make sure that we do a good job in the delineation of the site. But at any rate, we don't know if they're coming in or not. If they aren't, we're going to continue it.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. All right. So I would say maybe we can get to you guys sooner, but we just want to wait until our next, if they come in or not.
Thank you.
All right, do you want to
Just want to do a few,
sign some stuff?
yeah.
All right. Awesome. First, we have a very special certificate of compliance to sign. DEP file number 300-69.
What?
Plan from Lenny Jalbert himself over there.
69? Lenny, you and I weren't even born when that was issued.
Well, the other one you just did there in '93, for God's sake. That did survey, you know, I don't mind.
Oh, yeah, that was your plan up
25
there,
years
yeah.
ago.
So this is the Woodside Circle subdivision. This is
Right.
one house on that subdivision. It's number one. It's the first one when we turn down. The wetlands, yep,
Left-hand side.
on the right-hand side.
On the right.
So the wetlands are on the left-hand side, and further down the road, it's about 200 to 300 feet away. So there's nothing
Right.
on this site. I mean, I would buy it. There's just a single family house.
Isn't it seriously sloped right there too?
Not on his property.
Oh, just off his property.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna recommend that we issue a partial for this one house. I mean, this only came up because the guy's selling this house, so.
Holy.
Dave
it's a
likes
partial
those.
for the one lot. Next is 45 Mountain Brook Road, and this is for the DPW project where they redid all the roads.
Right.
We keep seeing these way down there, no concern. So it's a partial for 45 Mountain Brook Road.
But we would like to indicate that we've been thrilled with the results of the project.
Yeah.
The Mountain Brook Road project is just classic about how you can fix a problem.
Yeah.
DPW should definitely be congratulated.
The next one on the list, 28 Breakneck Road, I'm gonna recommend we hold off on that one for now. So it's a septic replacement, but he still has a loan delivered, which he's gonna be seeding. I asked him to put up some erosion controls because the original ones were down. So he's gonna do that and let me know when those are up. And then once it's stabilized, and then I said, once that's ready, then we can move forward with it. So there's.
All right, everybody in agreement on that?
That sounds good.
We then have 36 Draper Woods Road. this was part of the Draper Woods subdivision. This house is, on the opposite side of the wetlands, right after the turn. I can show you in the aerials, but there's ledge in the back. There's no wetlands back there. The wetlands are on the other side of the road. Just the beginning part of the lot is within 200 feet. I didn't have any concerns and recommend issuing a partial just for this house.
Okay.
And do you want to do the normal caveat that we don't normally give partials except that this is a subdivision? And therefore, that's why we're doing a partial?
We could, but you just did it, so.
Okay. Well, if we said no, we don't want to do it. Hush your mouth, Barnacle.
Next is DP file number 300-914, 187 Lake Road. Jill Roy, this is, we talked about it last week, where she had a couple more trees she needed to plant on her garage side. She did plant them, she let us know, she did some too. She did go out there and she did plant them, so I'm gonna recommend that we issue her a complete certification now. Those were the two things that we had asked for. There's a couple of ongoing conditions, just our basics, kind of more any extra work.
Howdy. We're doing these requests for determinations. I mean, certificate of compliance, sorry.
Next, we have 52 South Shore Drive. This was a project we recently issued a permit for. This was the installation of a well at this property. They're just putting a well in, the line to the house. This was the house where we get to the owners there. We have a proper well. So everything's all set. I went out there. It's been stabilized. No concerns. They decided not to put the walkway back in and just leaving it as on. Minor. And then I also had,
The Schmidt.
yep, and then I had file number 300-799, 88 Westwood on here. We did receive the revised plan, but we still just have to plant the last 2 trees. So we told them once we plant some, let us know. We'll go out there and we can issue.
Okay.
But the revised plan was received. And then just so you know too, on the agenda after that, I had ordered conditions to sign for 64 South Shore Drive. The revised plan was supposed to come in the end of last week. Put it on the agenda. It did come in until Tuesday. I already had it on the agenda. Therefore, the orders aren't ready. So that one will be continued.
So, have they given us a continuation? Do we have a continuation or?
Well, I don't think we need a continuation. It's just a signature.
All we need is a signature.
What?
Yeah.
All we need is a
I
signature.
know, but I mean, okay. We'll wait
Well-
until the next meeting to sign it.
Well, I don't think we have to wait till the next meeting. We can sign it before that.
Yeah, we should really.
Yes. Well, we have 21
Days.
days.
Right.
Yeah, so we received the revised plan that we're waiting for this past Tuesday. Technically, we have time.
Okay,
We
right.
can- I'll have it to
You
you
just
before
answered my
that.
question.
Okay.
That's what I was supposed to.
Yeah.
We just prefer not to sign it without that plan.
That wasn't what I was, my concern was the timing.
Yeah.
A lack of signing it within the legal amount of time, it was a signature.
Yeah, but, right, it was incomplete pretty much until we got that revised plan, so I'll make sure it's within our time frame.
All right, we are now at 6:30. So we have an abbreviated notice of resource area delineation, DEP file number 300-1017, continued from 6/7 on 14 and 50 Dowdy Road. E. O'Connell, represented by Burton Engineering, confirming the extent of the wetland resource areas, and they are not here. Is that correct?
Correct.
That is correct.
So we will give them,
Oh, there we go.
all right.
Hi.
That's called just in the nick of time, Andy.
Yes.
Clear out the table, please. You're running.
Quick. Meeting. Is this
Introduce yourself.
Andre Cormier from Escape Estates, representing Peter O'Connell?
We already read you in, okay, for the 6:30. But we were going to go by that and also by the notice of intent. You want to speak for us, Becky, or do you?
Yeah, so we haven't received the report yet from the third-party review, but we should be getting it any day. They finish their work out there.
Okay.
So we just haven't received it yet, so I was just gonna recommend that we continue to our next meeting. That way we can get the report, have time to look at it, we can have a site visit, before that meeting. So,
Very good.
sound good? September 4th will be the next meeting, and that would be 6:30 again.
Okay.
Actually, there's only one thing on that next
And
agenda.
Andy, remember, it's no
Yeah,
longer
so-
on Thursday nights.
Okay, it's being changed to September 4th. It's
Yeah.
Tuesday, okay.
Tuesdays from now
I'll
on.
remind you.
Okay.
Telling him, you should tell me too.
Yeah.
No, I'll be calling you. No, you just, for 10 years, you've been in the mode of Thursday
Yeah.
nights.
Yeah. A lot of other meetings are Tuesdays, so yeah, I should fit in right, no problem.
Not for me, but for a friend. What was that date again?
9/4.
Thank you. Time flies.
You, Steve.
Yeah, can we talk about the next one?
Yeah, let's just talk
continue
about,
that?
yeah,
Okay.
because it's, the same thing. Not doing anything, so. Going to the 6:45 with a notice of intent, DEP number 300 dash 1018, continued from 6/7 Doughty Road and Stallion Hill. The same thing.
Do you want to continue it to the next meeting, which is
Yeah.
2 to 3
Yeah.
weeks?
Yes, please.
Okay. So the same thing, that'd be 6:45.
Right.
Okay, and then Andy's also here, he's working on our project at 140 Lake Road, so he's here to talk about or ask for a minor change to the site plan. So I'm
Yep.
gonna pull it up.
Sure.
On there. Andy, you have a pointer there too, a light pointer, yeah, so you can.
In the field, on paper, everything looks so nice and neat and compact, but when you get down to the reality of there's the pointer, of this cut back here, that tree looks like it's plenty out of the way, but really, by the time we do make this cut and we try to fit everything in, I'm really worried that I'm going to compromise the tree, the root system of that tree. And my solution would be to take that tree down and plant 2 more behind it when the work is complete, to replace it. It's just, if I work and leave it there, I'm cutting so close to the root system. I told my guys to hold back. I didn't want to go any further, because I know what I'm going to see. I'm going to start seeing the roots of the tree, and I'm worried. And it's not a small tree, and I'm worried that in a big storm or something in the future, it's going to come down somewhere. So if the board, would mind granting that request, and I'm not asking this in behalf of the owner. I ran it past him when I saw what I was coming up against, and not trying to sneak an extra tree down for him. It's just, it's reality, it's very, very tight site, and this excavation right here is gonna do something to that roots of that tree. So,
There's no other options for avoiding that area or raising
it's
the wall?
just so
or-
tight. When you look at the scale in this thing,
Yeah.
it's like, it's so tight, and to actually get that cut, it's just one of those things, that will be barely enough room to fit this as it is and to be able to backfill. It's just, the canopy of that tree is like this, you know, so the root system's doing the same thing under the ground. On paper, it's just looks like a little blot on the paper, but in reality, the canopy is like this, and that root system is like that, where it's going to be right up against that edge. So
I think that's the only one that you see.
that's it. That one tree. Yep, that one tree. Everything else is fine. There's no issues at all. It's tight no matter what, but it is what it is. But that's the one thing. So I noticed on the plan that there were replacement trees. After this work is complete, it would be easy to pop in 2 or 3 trees to replace it.
We do need to ask, because it's shady as heck, and it's gonna be shadier when you put the house up, and it's up against the hill, and the subsoil is all gravel. What's your suggestion for the 2-to-1 replacement?
For a type of tree?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a clay till soil. It's not pure gravel. It's got, it's a clay glacial till. It's gravelly. I would say that either the white or red oaks both do really good. Better than maples, I think, in that soil condition.
Yeah, no maple.
Yeah.
This is an oak.
Yeah, it's a red oak.
So you think those other trees, the replacements should be oaks too?
Oh,
versus-
How far is it from the lake?
Oh, my
That-
God.
Oh, yeah, 100 foot.
Yeah, that's what I'm just.
Yeah,
Except that we
100
have to
foot.
consider the 8% slope
Here.
bylaw.
Yeah, no, I'm still within
Yeah.
that jurisdiction. No, it wasn't my
This is
question.
100 feet right here.
One of the things we might suggest is, if you were to put it out towards the perimeter, it might get more sunlight, because you're gonna get shadowing because of the slope of the hill coming right in full frame with the house.
Yeah, right back here where that tree is, everything else is kind of small, low. The bigger trees made this portion of the woods. They're actually tiny trees, 2-inch this and that. And in fact, a lot of them are dead because of shading from the bigger trees. So anything that's put there is going to have plenty of sunlight. Initially, it'd be, and the house, because it's down, the peak of the roof won't be all that high. These trees should be able to catch up, no problem.
So what are you proposing?
I'd like permission to cut it, and then I think there's enough room there to put at least 2, maybe 3 trees. If I put something smaller where that one's pulled out, and then maybe 1 or 2 right here.
What species?
I think red or white oaks would be the best choice because of the soils.
That'd be a good suggestion, because it looks like the mass crop, and I know what an environmentalist your father is, so the mass crop seems to be terrible in the woods because of the caterpillars.
Yeah, they
And
really wiped out
the deer are coming out of the woods looking
Yeah.
for something to eat.
Yep.
I'll make a motion that we agree with the minor amendment, and that we add as part of our consideration that he put a minimum of 2 trees, or if possible, a 3rd tree, all of the oak variety in the back of that house.
Sure.
2.5 dBH.
Okay.
That's doable, isn't it?
Yep.
I wouldn't do the white, right? You wouldn't do the white.
It's up to you guys. Red is fine. Red oak is fine.
Fine, yeah.
Yep.
It probably will do better in that subsoil,
Right. Okay.
but I need a second.
I'll second.
Any more discussion?
No, it's
Anybody in
fine.
the audience? All in favor?
It was a good catch.
Thank you.
The only other thing I'll mention while I'm here is that I saw firsthand what happens out there on that road. It was, we could have kayaked it. There's just so much water collected from the roads up above, and it comes flying down. I'm willing to work with the owner and the neighbors. There's a material that I was going to suggest to them. All their gravel, all their processed gravel just gets swept down, and then they scrape it up, I think, and try to put it back. There is a quarry right up the road in Holland that makes a product that's it's excellent tracking pad, but if you put a thin layer of that and compact it into that gravel, I think it'll be a lot more durable. I don't mind helping them do that.
It's up to them, because it is a private road.
Yeah. is any permission needed to repair those washouts when they happen?
Well, it depends on whether we're being realistic or not.
Yeah.
The
Is
realistic
this a
answer
bituminous
is,
product?
they're doing it already.
No, this is a natural stone product. It's just the size and shape. It's 2-inch minus trap rock and then you just get it pressed in. I've used it on other places
Well,
that,
anything you could conjure up with the neighbors, we'd be glad to support.
the other problem I see at the bottom of the hill, and I was gonna talk to the neighbor down below, if they're willing to work with me a little bit, there's a catch basin there that's doing absolutely nothing because it's too high. I watched the
Because
water.
there is that.
Yeah.
I watched the water run right past. There was so much water that some did drop in it, but basically it's just too high.
But it's up about that much higher than it should
Yeah,
be.
it's higher than it should be.
Yeah.
So I could talk to them about it. I don't mind. I'm there working anyway, you know?
It's better than it was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's still horrible.
Yeah.
That's on Bruce's property, isn't it? Or right adjacent to? I
Yeah.
think
Grand's.
Bruce Gran is the person you should talk with,
Okay.
Andy.
Okay. Very good. I'll touch base and I won't touch anything unless I talk to you guys first.
All right, great, thank you.
All right. Thank you
Thanks a
guys.
lot.
Have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
Where to, Beck?
We have 20 minutes.
So we've done 140,
Yep.
Lake Road.
We have tree removals.
On Paradise?
Yep. And then I have actually one more certificate of compliance. This is just a re-sign. One of the numbers was wrong on here, the file number. This is for 117 Gilpin. One of the file numbers was wrong on the top.
Oh, really?
We just need to
Yeah.
re-sign it with the correct file number. So if you want to re-sign that.
I don't think I can sign it, can I?
You can't sign that, correct. You can pass it down. So we have 20 minutes. I don't know if you want to do that.
Thank you, sir.
20 minutes until our next. They're here for 272 Big Alum.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have 20 minutes for our next public hearing. If you want to come up, since you guys are here, we can.
Fit you guys in.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, thank you. So these plans just came in, so I don't know if you wanna, I'm gonna pull it up on here.
Do you have it?
Yeah, but if you wanna, I think these are all the same. Pass these down, it may be useful to look at. In addition to-
Are these all individual copies of the plan, or are they different pages? Or- I guess they're all individual.
Was that proposed landscape plan?
Yeah.
I didn't look at them, so I
I don't know.
Lenny, are these all the same thing? These are all the same thing?
They better be.
This is the overlay.
What do you got? Are you saying,
It's an overlay and a remediation.
There's, excuse me, there's actually three plans, okay? There's the overlay, there's the remediation, and this one right here, which is the first one, which actually shows you the improvements that were put on the site.
all right, well,
Okay.
let's let him go.
Yeah.
So I'll go
We
through
all
them
have
before.
Yeah, there's two.
So,
Too
Lance,
much.
you better be, you better not be. Okay, go ahead.
Leonard Jalbert from Jalbert Engineering, representing the owners for the property located at 272 Allen Road, Howard family. Before we start, what I'd like to say is we'll go over the first drawing here is what is actually, do you have the first one? There's another one besides those two.
This is,
Maybe we can give you
that's the first one you sent last week? Yep, right here.
that one. This one here, okay, that's that one.
Yeah.
Okay, this one here is actually, just try to make you familiar with the site itself, is that the improvements that were done on the property itself was a new 2-barrel dock area system here. There was a retaining wall placed in this section here. There's riprap, which is put over here. There's the relocation of the existing shed here with a concrete slab around the shed itself. The platform, this wall here, there's a retaining wall along this side here, which encompasses the area here, the deck, and this area here, the open space, which is all a level surface here. So we got that. Then the stairs that were put in here on this side, a flower bed here, a flower bed in here, and then the diversion trench in here for the runoff for the roof. There's pipes that go into this thing. This here was buried. I think it's now presently uncovered. The property over here on this side, which is immediately adjacent to the road itself, is done prior, and there's no improvements in this area here. But just to reiterate what actually took place, there's an impervious car access in here for the driveway. In this area in here, there's a retaining wall running here, which encompasses a flower bed and everything on this side here. And then there's riprap pervious along the road area here. That was done on the previous order of conditions. The riprap over here on this side was also done on the order of previous order of conditions. If you go a little further down, move that.
This way?
Okay, yeah, right there. What this is here, when we did the original order of conditions, we had a flow pattern that went from here down this way out here to an existing catch basin. These two lines here represent the top of the slope over here and the bottom of the slope. That's basically what you were looking at. It was actually done. Now let's move on to the actual next.
Glenn, what was the, before you do that,
Yeah.
go down to the water's edge.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
How much fill, go backwards, here we go. How much fill was put in here?
There was 22 yards put in here, cubic yards.
22 cubic yards, okay. All right, go ahead. I didn't mean to.
Well, I think the 22 yards has to do with the ballast that was taken here, taken out, and they spread it in this area right here. Okay? What it is that the shoreline itself actually is the limits of the wetland area here. And with the FEMA maps, there's no flood area within here. And this line right in here, as you look along this line right here, actually is the 500-year flood line right there, which would put a maximum flood area of under a foot to a foot. So that's where it would be right there. So even though the shoreline is here, under normal FEMA conditions, there's nothing other than the 500-year, which we do not use as a guide for wetland. Okay?
Go ahead on to the next one. I didn't mean to hold
Next.
you back.
Okay, this here is actually, it's the actual overlay map of the property itself. It's the one you just looked at. If you look at this color right in here, is the work that was taking place in here and in here under the direction of the contractor. The dock system right here, if you look at this dark area, gray area here, is the existing dock system at the time of going for the order of, for the filing of the site itself. This line over here is actually where the existing dock is presently. It's moved over here approximately 15 to 20 feet. The actual displacement from the original dock system here to there is roughly to 2 feet. So it's actually 2 feet beyond the original actual location of that particular site, which went from here all the way up to there, and now it's going from there basically to here. So we've from here right down to that line right there. So you can see that this area here, we're not doing anything with it at this particular time. The trees that were going to take place, we shown as 3 trees here in this area and 3 trees in this area. What actually took place in here, which was not part of the original order, there's actually 5 trees that were taken out of this thing, which is these here, that one, and that one there, which they were taken, removed from the site itself. So you have 5 additional trees from the original 3 that was presented at the original order of conditions. The fill itself, basically in here, this area here between the 25 and 50, it's roughly, the area there went up roughly 2.5 feet when they filled from here to here, which came up to an additional something like 50 cubic yards. So you're ending up roughly 80 cubic yards from the 50 to the 0, which is on the water. From here to there. So the thing here, this riprap in here was done, which is outside of the 50. In this area right in here, this small section right in here, that's roughly 3 to 4 feet, going right up about to the middle of the house here, which is only on grade right here. So it just sloped up a little bit to build that area up to hopefully. So, but it's beyond 50, which we calculated it. I got those areas, but it's not hard. Itself. The area over here, which is basically natural vegetation, which has not been changed, it's staying as is. The area down here on this side is basically natural vegetation in here, which is staying as is. Let's go to the next sheet. Then we'll hold that. Okay, this area right in here is natural.
What sheet is this? What is the definition of this sheet?
Please?
Is this what you want to do, or is it, what is this?
Remediation, is that what you're calling it?
Is this a remediation sheet? Oh,
This is remediation, yes.
okay, I just wanted to make sure so we've gone
I'm good. Go ahead.
from what it was to what the plan was, and now you're going to give us the remediation. I just want to make sure we're
Correct.
clear on, okay.
Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over it very quickly, basically tell you that this strip here represents the remediation in the site itself. Also along the road, there'll be remediation there. And I'd like to take the remediation phase and turn that over to
Oh man, you get to do the easy stuff tonight, huh, Lynn?
Lenny, you were doing such a great job. I thought you were going to handle right all the way through it. I have no problem with that. It's your plan. That's
Okay,
fine.
I can go over it.
Sure.
The remediation, actually, what we're going to do is that this area in here is been regraded from that wall out in here and out of this area here is actually come up with vegetation, small plants and everything put in this particular area here. The area over here is the same thing. It's going to be revegetated in this area with plantings. This area in here is going to be revegetated with plantings. And this area here is going to be revegetated in plantings. There's also a small planting area here on this side. And then the area from here all the way through, from that area in here and here and here will all be lawn. So it'll be all stabled and in the process of being stabled right now. Go down further. Here we go. What we're doing here is we're putting in a arborvitae hedge along this particular line in here. There's a stone wall right there now, which is approximately 2 foot high, and the arborvitae fence would be right here along this particular line. The area here, which is actually the roadway itself, and on this side of the property here is a parking lot area in here. What we're going to do there is put in a diverging trench in here, which will be going from here along this line here back out to the existing catch basin. It'll be roughly 30 inches wide, 6 inches deep. It'll be filled with 3/4 inch stone for the water coming off of this slope in here along the thing and then going over to the catch basin. The catch basin itself basically is full. What we're going to do is clean it out, take all the silt and everything off of the catch basin, and then fix the thing on the downfall, putting more riprap there. That's basically it.
One pothole in the road we were going to pave also. The owner had just put some crushed stone in it. Anything that flows down the road, that paved road that was paved during the sewer line installation, we're going to clean up the road to ensure that it's stable to the catch basin. And again, Lenny will be picking up the groundwater at the toe of the slope, as Glenn Coburn had brought out in that 14 letter, talking about picking it up in the swale. It is, in the winter, there's some icing problem. We want to make sure we pick up that 46 to 48 degree groundwater discharge because of the cut into the bank, and slope slightly that parking area back to that swale, pick it up, run it through the swale, even during freezing weather. With the crushed stone bed in the swale should be sufficiently deep to allow for groundwater to be flowing at the base of it out towards the road, instead of flowing on the road, which apparently there was an icing problem in the past. So we'll make sure that at least that back location is stabilized. We also propose to remove the exotic invasive plants within the lot. It's just a small point for remediation, but there is multiflora rose, oriental bittersweet, and Japanese barberry on both sides of the lot, the north and south side, and it's also at the back slope of the parking area. Also, the 5 trees that were removed, the landscaper had shown on his landscaping plan, which will bring in those to show more clearly the saplings 2.5 inch in diameter that we're going to plant within the plantings to the left and right, to show that we're replacing with 10 trees the 5 trees that he took out, that the applicant took out, above and beyond the 3 trees that he was permitted to take out, and replace with 6 trees which are still showing on the plan in the locations that they were originally designed to be shown. I think we want to just bring out one point, that the counterweight, there was a question about the counterweight being further into the lake, and we can show with the overlay plan that the counterweight is actually inland of what was originally proposed by a couple of feet, and that actually one of the docks, which is going through DEP, not Chapter 91 now, and we'll obviously keep you abreast of that chapter, how that's proceeding, is slightly narrower than what was originally proposed. And again, the dock system was moved to the north, was not showing up on the plan that was submitted in 17, but it was a request of the commission to move it to more centralized in the lot frontage, and that's why it was shifted over from what was originally shown on that plan. But again, the one dock system is a half a foot narrower, and it is, if you look at that pink line on the plan, that's not the plan, the other overlay. It is, there it is. The pinks to the north are what's there now, and what was proposed was the grays. And it is back further. You can see that distance. This is a 1 inch goes 10 plan. So it came back a little bit narrower with that one on the right or north, you can see slightly, and the southern one is, appears to be the same width. But again, the counterweight is not further to the lake. And in fact, the original in 10 is the orange line on the plan, and that showed that the deck was further into the lake than what was proposed in 17, or what was built.
The original.
Right. We want to definitely bring out the natural vegetation in the lower corner, which is the southwest corner. We want to just show that it is natural in there. One of the plans doesn't quite depict all the natural vegetation. And we've got a species list that we're going to utilize with the landscaper to ensure that all plantings will be native. Even that statement of nothing about Lenny, but gray mountain dogwood, I believe there's no such thing. It might have come from a landscaper, but we went everywhere to find something called gray mountain dogwood.
There's no such
There's no such thing. Also, balsam fir in the planting, we'll use the southern white cedar, which is known to be in your town, and not the arborvitae, at least on the water where we did call out. So the plan does need to be, I believe, brought up a little bit more in detail. And one other point, that the flow over there at the bottom, you see right out to the right, it says to the southern side of the house, that's going to be sodded laterally, stapled in, but the flow, it appears, is going right directly westward, and we want to just make sure that we attenuate any sediments and fines and nutrient. So there's a potential that there's going to be one more mitigation down in the area parallel or directly to the south of where the shed is, but upgrading of the natural vegetation to something like a bio retention area.
Thank you, Glenn.
And
You're
I'm
on
going to
a
give you
roll,
one
but
more.
Hang on. At this point,
Yes,
10
sir.
minutes into your dissertation,
Yes, sir.
you need to introduce yourself to the public, sir.
They didn't know. It's Glenn Kravosky from EBT Environmental. Thank you again, Mr. Barnacle. I don't believe that the discharge from the original infiltrator is open, but Lenny had indicated that it might be. We are going to check that again. I believe it's underground, and we have to daylight that basin, and we still wanted to go back to the original design and ensure that all the roof runoff, including that new covered deck, is accounted for in that infiltrator, that we're that's sufficient for, at a minimum, a half inch in 24 hours. And as Lenny, Mr. Jalbert said,
Right.
we'll use a hydro truck to suck out that catch basin at the road.
All right, I'm going to step to the agent now.
Thank you.
Becky,
Okay.
comments?
So, I looked at these earlier today when you came in, and I had a couple questions and we kind of addressed a little bit. One thing, since I wasn't here when the project started, I don't know what the site looked like, but I went back and pulled out the plan that, for the last filing that came in for the site, and this was the approved plan for the last property owner. I looked at this to see if that could help us understand what may have been there before. So I just kind of noted some things and actually kind of pulled it out to look at the Coltech system was in question, and noted, they had a lot of vegetation removal and had a lot of plantings that they were supposed to put in. There's a native flower area here. This was lawn, and then They also had done work here, I don't know the extent of it, but I think this was already done. I don't know if I don't think this wall was put in, but this project was closed. So I thought this was kind of helpful to understand here some of the things that they had already done to address some of those concerns, and then look at some of the mitigation they had to do for some of the trees they already took out. Also understanding what it looked like previously down here. I had a question about the Coltech outlet that you said that's going to be opened up. We addressed it, let us know how much fill was brought in. I still have a question. So the counterweight for the dock that's set back, but there was concrete that was poured on the shore, which had the deck posts on it. I don't think that was part of the original filing. I think that everything was supposed to be set back. So I found this profile. So this was the sketch for the dock, where it shows the counterweight back here kind of leaving the shoreline, but it looked like that was a separate piece that was up front, so I didn't know if, why that went in. It doesn't seem like that was originally approved.
It's not.
So I had a question about that too. And then just going back to the plan, I mean, I think there was more than 7 trees. There was these 2, that makes 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and some other things up here. I don't know if those are trees or not. It's not on the plan, so.
Paul, you want to start, or you want to start down this end?
No, it's okay. I tell you, I have a problem with this because there was a plan that was developed, that was approved. And this, although it looks very nice, has nothing to do, or very little to do, with what was originally proposed.
Right.
And so I'm not sure where we're supposed to go with this. Are we supposed to approve something that's been sent in here and said, okay, this is the new plan, guys?
I think I have the answer here.
It's time to wake up.
So it sort of bothers me that we're getting this whole new document that really has very little to do what was originally proposed and approved, and so, I mean, I'm not sure exactly where we should be going with this, but I don't feel real comfortable approving something that's really so unrelated to what was originally planned, or what was originally proposed, unless they're going to come back and say, okay, let's disapprove the original plan and let's submit a new document that says this is what we plan to do now, and please forgive us, which I'm not sure we should be doing, for all of the stuff that we did without anybody's approval. So, I mean, I have, although this is very nice, I have a lot of problems with this.
It's not very nice. I would say let's cut to the chase and go ahead. You gave some specific directions to what they should present to us today, and I think you should take the discussion.
I should? Interesting. I'd rather get the committee.
Okay,
Get
that's fine.
everybody's input. I'm not.
Okay, well, that's good. Then I see 2 pieces to this. I see an enforcement action, and I see they use the word remediation. I'm not sure what they meant by that, because I didn't see any. I see things that are not on the permit that are there, and then we need to discuss what needs to be done with the things that are there that are not in the permit. And I guess what I was talking about was, we gave, even though we didn't have a meeting and you were the only one who spoke, you told Glenn, come to us with a plan that is what was permitted. And that's what we need, is a plan of what this is going to look like when you're done, that's going to be meeting the permit.
Well, I think. Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Well, I think what he's saying.
Hey, Ed, could I just clarify one thing? Apparently, I didn't present it correctly, okay? there's statements made which,
That's impossible, Ed.
yes, that's why I'd like to reiterate. Okay, if you take a look at this particular drawing here, this overlay drawing, we're saying that the site itself derogated from the original order of conditions, which is not true. The site, as you see it, is what was done in the original order of conditions. This colored area here that you see here, over here, there, this wall right here, this wall in here, the shed, is what was not on the permit.
Right.
Okay, that isn't what Paul said. Paul said that he didn't see the continuity. The thing is, it was all done in an original order of conditions. Everything that you see, other than what's in that, should I say, other color.
Well, I think what Paul was saying was, he's expecting you to make it right. And what you're saying is, you want to keep it wrong.
No, I didn't say that at all.
I'm-
Okay,
I don't mean to be using, maybe that's
Okay,
a negative
what-
term.
what I-
but
what I-
This is what we want. We don't want what we propose to you.
Correct.
That's what's being said here.
I don't think Lenny is making a judgment on that,
No, I
actually.
wasn't.
I'm not,
No, I mean, as far as saying this is what he wants or
Yeah.
whatever. This is what,
I just did this, I did exactly what you said. I did the original, I did 3 sheets. I
Right.
went from the original order, I did the overlay showing
Yeah.
what derogated from the original order,
Yeah.
which is right here, okay? And then a remediation. Now, I didn't advocate that, this is what you have to accept. I'm just presenting it to you to evaluate.
Right.
okay, well,
Okay.
since I'm discussing, I'm not sure what remediation, how you define remediation. We've got things that were built, constructed, whatever, that are not on the plan, they were not approved, and I'm not sure that I see something that I would call remediation of those. I mean, I guess I would ask that we need a definition of what you mean by remediation. You're going to plant some plants. What does that have to do with the things that were constructed out of compliance with the permit?
There is some remediation on the
Let's just-
plan,
let-
if I
let's
can
just
go on
with
with the,
committee.
thank you.
Get back to you.
So that's
Yeah.
a concern. And I'm not sure what it is, and this might be what Paul was getting at. I'm not sure what they're asking, what the purpose of these 3 things are, other than to show us what's supposed to be done, here's what was done. I'm not hearing from the applicant or their representatives what we're supposed to do with all this. I mean, I know what we should do with it, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure what they're asking for. So those are my comments.
I believe they did what we asked,
Right.
because it is pretty clear. But I still have some uncertainty about a couple of issues. Mr. Jalbert,
Yes.
could you give us diagrammatically with your hands some indication about what 30 cubic yards is,
It's 80.
material-wise? I'm sorry,
If-
80. 80 cubic yards.
Okay, if you look at it, it'd be roughly 5 dump trucks full of sand.
So it'd be more material than would fit in this room.
Maybe, I don't know. Could be.
It could be about what's in this room.
Could be what's in this room, maybe.
And
yeah.
Wouldn't it be
We have
8
too many engineers out there.
10-yard,
we can't,
would be 8 10-yard dump trucks,
8 10-yard dump trucks.
would make 80
Well, my
yards.
whole point is, we're not supposed to be filling a wetland, we're not supposed to be filling waterfront property, and yet in Lenny's presentation, he indicated 80 cubic yards, enough material to, how big is the property? Is it 3/4 of an acre?
It's 100 feet wide by,
It's basically 210 by 120,000, it's roughly 5/10 of an acre.
So it's 5/10 of an acre, and you're adding
So it's 20,000,
amount of material
right.
wasn't there before.
Basically, if you want to look at it, if you looked at, say, basically, from this area in here, which is where this deck is, from here, we're talking basically a foot and a half of material that was added in this area right in here.
Height-wise.
height-wise, correct.
And higher than that at
And
the
if you look,
retaining wall.
if you look at this area in here, to catch up that slope in here, this here, in the back of this, it's roughly 2 foot deep right in that area there. So it goes from 2, basically down here to 2, in this area is 0.
And that's without any permits.
Correct.
And that's fill within the 50, and in some cases, maybe even within the 25.
There is actually 22 cubic yards within the 25 foot.
That's a massive amount of material added to that property.
And the retaining wall that you built.
Yeah, now we start going after the nitty-gritty, which is things like the retaining wall,
Well, it's in pink. You can see it.
everything that's in pink.
It's the other plan.
This retaining wall right here basically is 2 foot high, stone.
I don't think it matters how high it is. What matters
No,
is
I'm
it's
just
there.
telling you.
Okay,
What that's,
yeah.
you know.
The material behind the wall is 2 feet high is what he might be getting
Oh,
at.
okay, thank you. I'm flabbergasted, but I'm done.
You done? From my point of view, problems that I have with this site, I seem to be losing my voice, I don't know why. But it can't be this site. No. I have a problem with what you've done in the 25 feet, within the 25 feet. You've filled, you put a wall in that was not approved. This is supposed to, the 25 feet is supposed to be a no-touch area where we try and keep wetland species to augment the lake. And with the exception of the dock, which we, myself, I understand what she's saying about the way that it's made, but forget that from my point of view. But I would like to see this moved out of the 50 foot because it's a structure, and we have a 50 foot no structure, no new structure. So that's a new structure within the 50 feet. I'd like to see the wall removed. I'd like to see the 82 feet of gravel removed. And then I'd like to see pretty much you execute the rest of the plan as you've tried to outline. That, personally, that's what I'd like to see. That would be what I would need to see in order to approve this plan. So I don't know where we want to go from there, but,
We need another day.
yeah.
I mean, we were out there, and now we're seeing it in print, and I think we need
What I'd
to,
like you to do is to come back to us at the next date with a plan that meets those criteria.
Thank you.
What was your intent after you had comment from us?
To work on the plan, we came in for comment, to work on the plan as the vote by the board would direct us more clearly as to where we're going next, and I believe each person has given us what you're looking for, and if there's a vote to that, then the client would know that this is what needs to be done.
Yeah.
But I might say, if,
We-
what we're looking for, go
We
on.
said this was gonna be a work session, we said
Yes,
there
right.
wasn't gonna be, so I think you've heard a consistency that you can use.
Thank you.
Anybody have,
no, you're right.
No movement of the deck, the dock area.
No,
2 feet, leave it alone.
yes,
Well, you indicated clearly that it was 2 feet outside of what the original plan was.
inland of it.
Okay, but we don't want to move back that 2 feet. We don't want all of
It
that.
is moved back
concrete-
2 feet.
We don't want all that
no,
concrete
he
disturbed.
doesn't, he
talking
doesn't
about
want it
that.
changed to 2 feet.
Don't change it again.
No,
Oh, we
we're not
wouldn't,
asking
we're
for-
actually further away from the lake. We're further 2 feet inland. I understand. There would be no change of the dock. We feel that it comes to compliance except for that one, the piece of concrete underneath the deck where there's a 4x4 holding to the concrete up to that deck point.
Yeah.
We would ask that is minor compared to the other things inland, and we're hearing what you're saying about the shed, the patio, the wall, the 2 foot wall. but we still would be bringing it, and Mr. Goodwin, it was brought up that, yes, you're preserving this along the shoreline. We're gonna plant more than what was there as still a point of mitigation, what we planned on both the right and left or the north and south. So there would, just to say that we will show more detail on the planting, which was lawn before.
And
It was, yeah,
Okay.
I just have one quick question, if I may.
sure.
That big slab of concrete has two 4x4
Support?
supports on it.
Yes, sir.
What is the rest of all that concrete for?
You're right, it could have been reduced down to something smaller on top of, down to the stone possibly underneath the concrete.
Couple of sauna tubes. I just didn't
Right.
understand what all that was for.
Why that extra concrete?
When I crawled down under there,
I
under
looked at it
there,
I looked at it too.
and that's,
Well, the
Okay.
thing I'd like to say about that is that it was approved. Maybe not exactly as it is, but it was approved. And I don't want to,
okay, I'm just asking
get
a
into a
question.
situation where we're
Okay.
making them do things.
No, but it was clarification so that we
Yes.
can see it the next time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I just,
We,
curious.
Do you have marching orders that you can work to?
yes.
Lenny,
Yes.
owner?
Yeah, you definitely.
We want you, your agreement.
I have, I have only one question to ask, is that, we went over this, but this wall right here, I'm under the assumption that that will stay as is?
Well, we're going to present that. That, outside the 50, out of all the other pinks that are in there, and then the replanting and the revegetation, we would be, I can say that the plan would have come back without Lenny asking for that. We would ask for an amendment to the order on that one wall.
Okay, that's the way to bring it back then.
That's up to you.
That, right, but, well, because it's not, because it is an amendment. It is another structure that wasn't proposed, and as we bring the thing back to compliance, if there's some wall that is requested to be left, I believe it would be an amendment. I couldn't say that it would be an insignificant project change. It's a substantial wall, but it is outside the 50, and I think it could have been proposed originally in 17 and gone, so I'll ask for an amendment on that.
Yeah, one of the things you might want to look at is that Coltech, as it stands at the present time,
Yes, sir.
is going to have a propensity to do the same thing again. Would it not be wise to put some sort of a gravel outlet at the end of it? To make sure that that's not going to
They're gonna
happen?
fix it, there's no
It-
gutters connected to it right
it-
now.
Oh,
They're gonna
okay.
fix
It needs to be daylighted, the pipe, and we understand the depth of the fill that you're talking about, and the other wall that parallels the shoreline.
Yeah,
We understand where you're going from.
okay.
I would, just on the Coltech, I'm gonna ask Mr. Jalbert what he designed it to, and ensure that other covered deck to the north,
Because that's going to be
northwest
adding
can
more
take
to
it. Yes, and so we want to make sure that if it was designed to a half-inch and 24, that it was over-designed so it could take that extra volume, and if it can't, we will be looking for an additional infiltrator to meet that compliance, because that is another deck that's, well, covering that wasn't before, there before. So we'll look
I'm
at,
gonna
make
shut
sure.
it down now.
Okay, thank you.
Because
One more comment. Oftentimes,
Yes, sir.
people come in here from the engineering group and say, we're working to the 1 inch and 24-hour standard. And yet, this past week, 8 inches fell in the northern part of Massachusetts, and 4 inches fell on the Cape in 2 hours.
And I had 3 at my house,
And you had 3 in Oxford.
well, with 2 rain events.
Okay. The 1 inch scares me. So just, if there's a way of making it better, you really should consider it.
Last point
Just a
then,
comment.
on that. As you know, if it's a critical area, it has to be 1 inch and 24. And when we did Condoleezza and a couple other in your town, when we were doing new construction, we went with the 1 inch and 24. The standard would be a half and 24. We'll ask Mr. Jalbert what he designed it to. And we would, if it was a half, we would at least bring it up to the 1.
We brought it, we normally use 1, period.
Okay, well, he's going to come up with, I'm sure he came up with numbers to show what he did in 17. Actually, that wasn't 17. That came out from the 10 plan, the 9 plan. That was already there when Mr. Justin had proposed this in 17. So I'm sure, though, Mr. Jalba did it back there in 9 or 10, so should be able to still come up with the volume.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Yep,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, thank you very much. You got time for the next meeting?
But we don't have
Thank you.
time to do that.
Okay, so you'll have to sit. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you. Thank you.
Number 26.
Okay. Not bad. We're now at 7 o'clock.
Yep.
We have notice of intent, DEP file number 300-1021, continued from 7/19/2018, 30 River Road, RV Management Services, proposed redevelopment of an existing campground, represented by Scott Morrison. Gentlemen, how you doing?
Great.
Please introduce yourselves.
My name is Philip Moreau, and I am the owner of the property. And it's good to be back. It's a little bit like Old Home Week here with my third visit. And
We get up to 8 or 10 sometimes, so don't worry, it's good. It's going to.
that frightens me more than the last hearing. But we're going to stay cool, and all I can say is that the horses are in the starting gate, and we're hoping to really have a very successful project here. I'll turn it over to Scott Morrison with Ecotech.
Yes, again, just for the record, Scott Morrison from Ecotech. At the last meeting, the Conservation Commission asked for essentially three things. One being, asked us to look to see if we could limit the number of trees that would be cleared in one particular area for some of the campsites. We've got this plan. I think many of, if not all of you, have taken the time to go out and look in the site. We were actually able to take what had originally been proposed for about 200 trees to be cut down. We've essentially cut that down to 50 by reconfiguring the proposed campsites. So we've done a substantial amount of work to be able to maintain those trees. The second item that was requested is the operations and maintenance plan was updated for the stormwater system. One of the important items is a checklist, so that at the site they can keep a checklist, and when they do the inspections they can keep a log of that, and then that'll be on site. So if the Conservation Commission ever wants to do an inspection, look at those, there'll be a 3-ring binder with all that information in place, and it's got some additional details for the stormwater system that was presented. And then the last item that the Commission asked for was the mitigation planting plan. So what I did was went around the site, took the areas that we were proposing mitigation plantings, and proposed plantings that would be sufficient and do well in those particular sites. For instance, down near the river where you get kind of a canopy of white pine trees, I proposed shrubs that do well in shaded areas. Other areas that are more wide open, we propose kind of your conventional trees, shrubs. Area out in the front along the access road where they've got to do some thinning of some of the trees in there. Rather than plant new trees, I propose simply some shrub plantings in that area. So I kind of went through, kind of detailed each individual area, provided those trees, shrubs. I provided the spec for the grading around some of the campsites that have some really steep slopes. I provided some details with the plantings, the seed mix that's going in there. So I think based upon that, we've addressed all the Commission's concerns. I'd be happy to answer questions, but I think that pretty much summarizes what we've done. I think the most important thing that's really worked in this project is the Commission's willingness and ability to come out and look at the site and actually see how things are set up. I think that made a lot more sense, seeing things actually on the ground as opposed to to looking at plans here, so kind of see exactly what we're doing. So I appreciate that, and we all thank you for spending quite a number of hours on the site.
We appreciate the golf cart rides.
And I'll just echo that I apologize personally for not being there when several of you came back out for the third visit to take a look at how we had, to use Mr. Barnacle's term, cattywampused the sites in that one ridgeline area. But I think it came out really well. I apologize for not being there. It was a choice between the Conservation Commission and my wife's birthday, and I think I made the right choice.
I think you did too, because you should hear the things they promised to do without you being there.
I have spies everywhere.
Becky, anything?
Not really. So with what Scott said, I mean, they've addressed the things that we asked from the last one we went out there. I mean, it's a really big improvement to that hillside, the retention of trees and less grading there. I went through the O&M plan, so they addressed some of the things that we brought up last time, which was including the checklist that we asked for.
Yep.
So I went through and, started working on drafting some conditions. A lot of them would be some of the generic ones. Some of the things I thought that we needed to have a little more information we can add as a condition would be about when the dry hydrant goes in, and then just having someone maybe on site looking at when the trees are removed to make sure that area, and then the restoration up by the front when the trees are selected there. So I added some additional conditions for those type of things that I thought that we just didn't have all the details exactly what trees would come out, things like that, to make sure there's a little bit of oversight. So I think with the changes and adding those type of things with our orders, I think that they've done a good job and met the concerns.
Gentlemen, any comments?
Do we have the details of the three
Yeah.
mitigation or changes that we asked for? Yep. I'm good.
Anybody in the audience?
Whoa,
You again?
hang on, you're gonna skip over the rest of us?
I'll check in the audience first.
You might guess, you're the chairman.
Well, you don't want to get bored with these meetings. Move things
Move it
around.
around a little bit.
Yeah.
With me.
Okay. Mr. Barnacle, you have some comments?
The audience didn't speak.
Nobody had any.
I have some questions, as usual. First of all, can you put up the O&M plan? I want you to come back to this one in a minute, but the O&M plan is interesting to me, because I'd like you to use an eraser in a couple of places, Scott.
Okay.
The two charts. The rest of this is fine, but the charts that are indicating exactly what gets done,
Yep.
keep going.
It's the last
You want
page.
the log sheet?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
separate. That's a separate.
Yeah, when you get to the bitter end, can you blow up the thing that action to be taken?
Yeah.
Yeah. Scott, I think you can see it from where you're sitting. I'd like you to remove the D from item number 2, because you're saying it's already removed. What you want to say is remove it.
Yep.
And there's another one under quarterly. It says removed. Somebody could read that and say, oh, it's already been removed.
No.
No.
Yeah.
We want you to remove it,
Okay.
okay? Now, can you go back to that original one?
The plan?
Please, yeah. That's picky, so that's immaterial, but I thought I'd
that's-
point it out since you can use an eraser quickly.
Oh yeah, it's
Can you blow up just on the slope, please, so that we can see the 25 and 50-foot buffer? Just on the slope that we just been talking about. Yeah, right there. Did we notice that with the new arrangement, there's 8 of those proposals that are in the 50, and there are another 7 or 8 at the other end that are within the 25?
You mean, if I scroll up, you want me to scroll up here?
Yeah.
Here?
That's what I understand.
No, these aren't new. This was the wetland where we drove up to the road.
No, the one on the slope where we talked about only 50 trees coming down instead of X number.
Yeah, you're in the 700 section there. You need to go up a little bit.
Yeah.
Up higher.
little more to the right.
There you go.
I'm on a wrong plan.
Another sheet. Yeah, I think you're.
All right. Here, this Pine Lake. Do you want?
Here, point it out where she's talking about.
Here?
Here.
Yeah,
There we go.
right in here.
No, the upper row.
Oh,
Isn't that the
Like up in
25
here?
and the 50 that's going right through some of those?
I don't think that's the place you're looking at.
No, it's shy of it.
yeah.
I'm not disagreeing.
It's what it looked like when I was looking at it on my computer. So that's why I'm asking it as a question as opposed to
Is that the
stating
50 there, Beck?
No, that's the
No.
That's 100.
That's
100.
100.
The
50's
in the row,
that's the-
25.
That's the 100.
Yep.
Okay,
All right? so-
that's fine.
Yeah.
Let them talk, not you. I don't want to hear from the chairman.
Okay.
And look at the ones above that 524 mark at the very top. There's more. I thought that was where it started
Yep.
getting into the 50.
No, the 50 should be on this side, like cuts through the lake,
Okay,
cuts through the road.
then I misread. That's good for you.
And those are existing sites already, the ones
Yeah.
that are.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Scott, the shrubs that you're talking about, we really agree with. We think that's a great idea, too. Are they going to be berry bearing?
Are they going to be what?
Berry bearing?
Some are.
Because I worry that you could throw a huge amount of arborvitae in and not give wildlife very much of a shot at it.
No, we're not proposing that. I've got different items in different areas.
Okay.
I personally do not care for arborvitae either.
Oh, thanks, Bill.
Well, I guess I do get the final, not the final say, but there'll be no arborvitae.
You have the final say because you got the checkbook, sir.
Yes.
Well, that's what I meant when I asked if we had the details for each of those three areas.
Yeah.
And the
Okay.
answer was yes. So they must have a list of the shrubs and what, okay, good.
Okay. As long as some of them are berry bearing.
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't go through the list meticulously.
No, just going through quick, you've got, arrowwood, winterberry.
I saw that in
The
3 different
dogwood.
places you had winterberry, which I thought was very good.
Yeah. But the arrowwood has got berry producing.
Fine.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
you had
it's,
some clethra, too.
yeah. I don't
Okay.
think that's technically berry, but
But
it's,
in fact, it does produce a berry, and bees love the flower
oh, yeah,
for over 2 months. So clethra is a really good addition.
yeah. And it smells real nice, too,
Yeah.
so.
Additionally, you do realize that in this area, it gets pretty tall. It's not supposed to be above 3 feet, but it typically grows over 5.
Yeah, in some cases it does, yeah.
Okay, next. I'm done. Thank you. I think that you have made some remarkable changes in order to help make this thing work.
Thank you for your guidance, and as we always said, we're open kimono. Give me some guidance and we'll do it.
Ed, you're up.
I don't like that open.
I'm a little worried about that, too.
That's a little.
I'm just gonna sort of ignore that. I'm gonna ignore that.
Disgusting. I strike that from the record.
Thank you. Strike that.
Yeah, I agree with the rest of the committee. Yeah, if you guys execute this as well as you've done it to this point, we'll really be pleased, so.
Yeah, it's really done a great job.
Well, to that point, we've executed time after time after time. You've seen the pictures. I feel a little naked tonight not being able to hand out a plethora of pictures, but we do execute, and I will say, it's not as easy as it looks. It's gonna take a lot of effort, and we're committed to make it happen.
Nicely done.
Do I have, anybody in the audience like to speak? Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Second, discussion, all in favor of closing? Okay, Mr. Warnick, do you want to make a motion?
Yeah, let me see. NOI. So, we make a motion to issue a notice of intent under the Mass Wetland Protection Act and the Sturbridge Wetland Bylaw, and Becky will have a series of orders of conditions to add to the list.
Go a second.
I'll second that.
Discussion. All in favor? Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, thank you. And they're off.
Good luck with the project.
Thank you.
If you don't mind, can you just let us know when the order's ready, and we'll just coordinate among ourselves to pick that up and get it recorded?
Yep.
Perfect.
Sounds
Thank you very
good.
much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice job, guys.
Thank you.
All right, we're now at 7:15. We don't have Art Allen here, right?
No. That's right. Oh,
We have a request to amend an order of conditions.
no, just,
No.
I'm just gonna ask Scott real quick if you need that Mark's coming or not.
That should be the,
Ta-da! Here's Pat. Hey, oh, you guys are out there.
Yeah, we were listening.
Spies among us.
All right, so I can read this. On request to amend an order of conditions, DEP file number 300-1014, 228, 234, 236 Haynes Street, Route 15, Mashpog Road, represented by Arthur Allen from Ecotech.
Thank you. So Becky's gonna put up our new plan.
Another simple project.
Please introduce yourselves and
Thank you very much. Arthur Allen from Ecotech Incorporated, Wetland Scientist.
Pat McLaughlin, civil engineer with MHF Design.
So we're in front of you tonight with a request to amend our recently granted order of conditions because we went out and did borings along the line for the proposed perennial stream culvert relocation. We found bedrock along that line as shallow as 1.5 feet below the surface, average depth of 9 feet below the surface. And that culvert, in order to make the grade from Mashapog over to the new daylighted section and join into the DOT drainage structure, we need to be as deep as 17 feet along that run. So we'd be looking at blasting and significant disturbance in the buffer zones outside the existing impervious pavement. So we've come back, basically back to our second alternative, which is rerouting the stream culvert within the existing paved impervious area, taking it out from underneath the old restaurant building, out away from the infrastructure of the fueling station.
I think I lost my connection to the network.
yeah,
so
I'm trying to,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think I
saying,
lost
when am I going to get to look at this?
We do have plans.
Uh-oh, we're not used to paper.
Paper, sorry about
Hold on, I
that.
think we're back.
Oh,
Look at that.
I don't even mount them up anymore because we always have them up on the,
Yeah.
there we go. What
also
plan-
our stand tended to fall down on you frequently.
Right.
6 is good.
Sure, sheet 6, Pat, yeah. Maybe you could do a little highlighting. But again, so there will be no change in the proposed mitigation work, no change in any of the other work outside the limit of pavement. We'll still be doing all the stream daylighting that we had proposed, all the mitigation and replication work. Basically, it just results in shortening the culvert by 21 feet coming through the site as opposed to going out around the perimeter of the site.
Show me where,
Sure. Yep. So, oh, this is brutal. So we're
I'm
coming.
gonna zoom. I can zoom in and we can.
I just got it two-handed. That's all. So we're coming through now in this fashion.
That's the
That's
proposed.
the proposed culvert comes straight down here and then turns and heads to the same exact head wall outlet as before. Where if you remember, on the plan that you guys approved, we were coming along the back of the site through here.
Right.
Well, this whole area is all ledge, so we anticipated hitting ledge here because you can tell by the topography, there is an outcropping here, but the hope was that we'd get in and out of it within this short length, and the borings that we did multiple borings along the 700-foot path, and about 400 feet of it had ledge at an average depth of
9
what did we
feet.
say? Yeah, 9 feet.
As shallow as 1.5 feet.
And so, that was all work within the, outside the limits of the existing developed area, so, this was one of the alternatives that we had looked at similar before coming through the site. If you remember before, originally we were coming down through this area here.
Right.
Just looking at it, trying to reuse as much of the, existing proximity to where the culvert is now, knowing that was previously trenched. There'd be, less ledge encountered there because it was, foreseeably already managed one time in history. And as Art has mentioned before, we believe the history of the site was that, underneath the development was filled. So it's far less likely to encounter ledge through there.
Have you done any borings in that area, Ben?
We have not continued to do borings at this point, so.
We're close to the existing culvert location with this amendment, so we believe we'll be fine. I mean, basically, it looks like they filled the stream and filled in that site with waste material from, with excavated material when they built 84, but
But will you get the depth that you need?
we think we will.
Yeah, because, the USGS maps show that as all being down at an elevation some 15 feet below where we are now.
Okay.
Yeah, so that natural stream bed, as it was before the original culvert was ever put in, should be down at that roughly that same target elevation.
Yeah.
So basically, besides the rerouting, you're taking 20 feet of culverting out.
Correct.
Correct, but keeping the same amount of daylighted stream.
Does anybody have a problem with this?
No.
Any other questions?
One other question, you're still keeping the same kind of open flowage within that structure? So you're still gonna have the cascade effect?
Oh yeah, yep. None of the open stream was modified at all. It's just we're coming back into the same head wall location with the pipe. So
We have sealed culvert access at each of the turning points, so we have, good access to the new culvert proposed. I mean, it's, little more disturbance if we had to, go in and repair it at some point in the future. A little bit more site disturbance, but we still have, we have good access, no direct discharge to the stream. Everything's the same in that regard.
Will this change have any impact on the abutters?
Shouldn't.
If anything, less because we're within the developed site instead of on the perimeter of the site.
Right.
All in favor of approving the minor change? Thank you very much.
Thanks for your time. Sorry we had to come back.
Well, I did draft the orders of conditions
Oh,
for
okay.
it. It's the
All right.
same exact conditions, it just changed, the reference plans.
Plan
and
reference.
the numbers for the, culvert size, so it's the same exact thing.
So is it ready for us to sign
It's
tonight?
ready, yeah.
Let's do it.
Great, thank you.
Welcome. Thank you. Oh, I gotta wake up already.
We love you guys, but there's no sense in coming all the way back again.
I know.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Well, we'll be back for the pre-con site walk anyway, so.
Yeah, but we wanted you guys to appreciate the Mass Turnpike more.
He was
$4.95 that gets
Stuck
me.
on 495 getting down there. Sorry, I didn't.
Thanks again, guys.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Take care.
We have 4 Birch Street. You guys want to come up? Sure. You next?
Mr. Soper, one more time.
One more time. I'm Steven Soper, Soper Construction.
I'm Carl Nye, the owner.
Lenny, you just can't, escape the screen tonight. You can't escape the screen tonight, it's on your
I
plan.
know it. I think that's good or bad.
Lenny, think good.
Good.
All right, so, the applicant's representative, contacted us, said they're getting ready to wrap up, ready to issue, to send in a request for certificate of compliance, asked if we can go out and just take a look at the site before they came in. We just, noticed a couple little differences on the site. I thought that they should come in front, see if those changes that occurred were something of a concern, because it wasn't what was exactly on the plan before submitting a request for certificate of compliance, so I had gone out with Steve, I went back out, quickly with Ed afterwards. We just noticed the leaching pits, the Coltex system here, the outfalls weren't in the right location, it was coming out down here. We had a lot of erosion in the landscaped area. The silt fence, just seemed a little bit closer, there was some landscaping in this area. There's a pump, pumping water out for irrigation, down there as well.
Did you get an answer from DEP regarding that?
I did not get an answer from them or MACC that I reached out to, but going through the exemptions, I don't think, unless you're agriculture and it was a pre-existing, that's something that wouldn't be an activity, so it would have to have been approved.
And it has not been, right?
Well, not under this filing or anything
Right.
that I'm aware of, but so right, we just took some pictures, that first picture, which I'll go back to, the silt fence was getting washed out, there's a lot of erosion coming down from by the house, and then right out from the pipes here that the leaching pits lead to, the lake's right on the other side here, so we're getting some erosion towards the lake. Didn't appear that anything had been going in. As you can see,
That's upside down.
yeah, now I gotta rotate all these. You just see it going down. That was addressed, Steve did go out, or someone went out and fixed it, he sent me a picture that they cleaned that up, that's not occurring anymore.
Yeah, I think a lot of the erosion, it was just landscape. It was mostly mulch. It wasn't, like gouging out the side of the, where the water was going through. The stuff that washed over the silt fence was just freshly placed mulch. It wasn't gouging out any culverts or anything. And Carl put some stone in those areas. It's got those two Coltex systems that go down in there. You can see the pipe there.
Yeah, the pipe's right here.
Yeah, there's, if you look around, there's erosion everywhere where there normally isn't, and I don't expect that to normally see a lot of water. You know what I mean? I think it was just because heavy, intense rainfall filled those two things up so fast, and I don't think normally you'll see much water go through there, but the water that did go through there, it couldn't have been all that much because the only thing that washed out was the mulch. You know what I mean? It wasn't digging out the ground in any way, shape, or form. And a lot of it was coming where he put the stone on the edges. It was just rain that was coming down and washing out the mulch. I think they just done it the week before or something like that.
It wasn't that old.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, comments?
Well, go ahead.
I don't have any.
I have more of a question than a comment. You went out there and there were variations in the approved plan. What are your thoughts? And I didn't see the site. What are your thoughts on?
Well, I didn't know if you were gonna be concerned that there was a direct discharge here. I know we had those big storms, and that's probably why we saw the rainfall there. I don't know how the leaching pits are holding enough water in or not. I didn't know if that was a concern because you had it discharging out by the 100-foot buffer zone versus directly down in that area. And then I think the fence was supposed to be at the 25-foot buffer, and it just seemed a little bit closer. Maybe.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's inside the 20 feet, 5 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we put that up, Glenn came out, the day that we put it up. This was, I don't know, almost a year and a half ago now, and he approved what we had there. So
He approved this, moving that outfall to closer to the lake?
no, I'm talking about the silt fence.
Just the silt fence.
Just the silt fence.
Yeah. Why were those outlets put closer to the lake than the 100-foot that was originally permitted?
It's just that one outlet there, and you come around the side. The original plan had a walkout basement around the side, and it was, things were a little different. So we came down and tied them both together into that one outlet. As far as why it's so close, where the other one was proposed, there was some birch trees there that Carl's wife wanted to save, and we didn't want to dig. I mean, they're thin birch trees. There's a clump of them there. She has a planting around them now, and we didn't want to, disturb the root system by coming through there. So we tied it in earlier and came out just the one side.
Is that going to impact the function of the Caltech system, that you have two of them tied into the same one outlet?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. They're tied in further down below, and it's it's a good size. It's a 6-inch pipe.
But if the 6-inch pipe is designed for one culvert system, one Caltech system, and you have two Caltech systems that are supposed to have two 6-inch pipes draining them, get funneled into one 6-inch pipe, isn't there the possibility of serious overload?
Well, it's going to increase the velocity.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Well, I mean, Steve, you've been in this business a long damn time, pardon my French. I mean, somebody comes along and says, I don't want these roots disturbed. You say, well, I better call the Concom and get somebody out here because we're permitted to put this thing here and maybe we can work something out. I mean, you know better than to do this. You should have called us.
Thank you, I think that's what I was getting at, but I didn't say it that way.
Well, we see this again and again, and it's like I told the gentleman that was here the last meeting, I said, you got to protect the owner from themselves, because you know the laws, you know that permit, you know the drawings, you know where things are supposed to go, and somebody says, gee, I really would like this over here, then you need to say, I got to go by this plan, or we've got to go get this changed.
Give us a warm and fuzzy feeling about that outlet. Is there enough stone at the end of that outlet to take the 12 inches worth of material that could be coming through it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Ed was out there and Becky was out there last time, and they saw it. It wasn't a lot of water that came out of that thing. It washed the mulch out only. It didn't, it didn't disturb the earth at all.
Bless you.
And it was pretty rough water. It was a pretty rough storm that went through prior to my going out there.
And there wasn't a lot of water that was coming through it?
No, I would agree with what Steve was saying, that it wasn't coming through at that time, 'cause but there wasn't a lot of it's still a new site. If normally I'd like to approve as-built a little later, but I don't see anything on this site that I would not approve it, and I wouldn't want to I'm not pleased with the pipe right there, but I wouldn't want to back it up now. I wouldn't want to, it doesn't make sense to me to.
No, but maybe modify that with some larger stone to
That's a good point.
cut back, because there will be a velocity change,
Yeah, we can do that.
and if
That
there
would
was just,
be-
it won't be as pretty
And the other
as,
thing I would say is that we have our 25-foot buffer zone, but the silt fence should have been along here.
Yeah.
To protect it, but you've kept this here, so.
We try to keep it out.
Yeah, so I think that meets from my point of view, that meets.
It's a good trade-off.
Yeah, it's a good trade-off, so I would approve it. You know,
Then let's make a motion to approve the modifications as they exist on the ground.
What about the pump?
we don't have any reason not to. I think.
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
I'm asking you.
Unless we come up with,
Well, I wanted to deal with that separately.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. We have to
So
deal with it.
my motion is only to approve what we see here, and then after that, we can talk about the pump.
Okay, let's prove it as built with the exception of the pump, leave it at that. And if we ever decide what we're gonna do.
No,
with
we'll
pumps-
talk about the pump in a minute.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so as far as this then, can we say this may or may not work? And if there has to be some modification with some stone to slow down the velocity,
No, they're gonna put some.
Yeah, we agreed to do the stone already.
No problems on larger stone.
Yeah.
You're talking at the discharge?
Yes.
Right.
Because I think the other stone will probably take care of
Right,
any.
just at the discharge.
Yeah.
right?
No problem there.
Because Steve's perception is that the increased flow may not be there, but the increased velocity.
And it
Yeah.
didn't wash the rocks.
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Little basic hydraulic
So we need a
physics
second.
there. A second.
Second? Discussion?
Did you catch the motion?
No.
Okay, the motion is to approve.
No, I caught the motion, I just need to know who's second.
Oh,
Do that.
okay. He seconded.
You second, so it was your motion,
Yes.
okay, just making sure, thank you.
That's so fast. Looking forward for revised.
Every once in a while, we move
Those
fast.
changes with
Not
the
often.
pipe, with the landscaping.
Yes, we need to have a plan that's gonna show all of these changes.
Landscaping starts.
Okay, sure.
I was gonna have that as
Yeah.
part of the order of conditions, I thought. But we do need to have that. It's gotta show it. Because that'll be similar to our as-built.
That's exactly
That
what she
area.
was saying.
Okay.
All in favor?
Now, relative to the pipe, not thank you. You stay right there.
What? Well, we proved the.
Relative to the pipe, no,
Yeah.
we said we were gonna talk about the pipe afterwards.
And we are, yeah.
DEP and MACC, Mass Association of Conservation Commissioners, has given this board no guidance relative to whether you can or cannot pump the water to do the gardening that you're doing.
Sounds good to me.
So until we have that guidance, we can't complain. When we get the guidance, we'll share it with you.
Excellent.
How's that?
Sounds good to me.
Okay?
So can we take the silt fence down in the sign and
Yeah, put the stone in
Yeah.
and.
can we take a picture and email it?
Yes.
Okay, sure.
Well, you're gonna still submit a request for certificate of compliance with that amended plan, like the as-built
Okay.
that shows
Right.
those things.
Yep.
So you'll show where the outlet pipe is, the stone that's there, show the landscaping and the edge where that meets the natural vegetation, just so we have that as documented of what it
Right.
looked like, so we don't come back and it's
Yep.
different. Show those changes on that plan, and then you can submit that. I think it's okay to take the fence down now, we'd say
Yeah.
wait until that's done, but I think that if the fence comes down, at least you can see, make sure that it's working.
But you two have already said that it's stable, so there's no reason for the fence to be up.
Right, they
Yeah.
did this, and I think it's fine.
Just for your edification, the reason that we want the new plan is so that if they sell the property tomorrow, the next party that comes in say, well, it doesn't match the plan.
Yeah, I get it.
And then who's messed up?
Yep.
So we need to have that plan.
Okay,
Okay?
sure.
Thanks, guys.
And I'd like to say thank you very much.
Do you want all these planting beds?
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Do we want to recognize,
Oh, he's
Mr.
ready.
Jalbert? Would you come to the microphone?
I can vaguely remember him.
No, I'm just answering your question.
Yes.
The answer is yes,
Okay, that's all I want. And
because
then-
that's part of the final plan,
Okay, just wanna make sure.
right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thanks, guys.
Take
Appreciate it.
care.
And
Yeah.
tell all your counterparts out there that you got to protect the owners from themselves, right?
Thank you.
Hey, thanks a lot. Take care, guys.
Where are we now?
We have 2 tree removal requests.
Our Hitchcock?
Tree removal, oh, here we go, yes.
Are you just here for the amusement, or do you have anything else you want to talk?
No, I'm right.
Yeah.
Were you gonna bring that up tonight? or when you-
Oh, I already did.
You did? I
Yeah,
missed
you were
it.
here. We're just gonna wait until he plants the trees.
Have you mentioned that on my?
Yep,
Yeah, okay,
yep,
so-
and let us know. And then I'll come out, verify, and then I'll submit the certificate of compliance for signature.
Did Ed lose his place in its entirety now? So you have to listen to him?
No, he can still yell at people.
You can stay if you like for the rest of the show.
We needed some yelling tonight.
Good night.
Take care, Glenn.
All right, so we have 102 and 104 Paradise Lane. Quite a few trees out here. We went out there, met the property owner. She's asking, she came in last year, and the neighbors couldn't kind of work together on it. She's asking to get permission for trees on her property and her neighbors. She will, talk to her neighbors about it, but she just wanted to get the approval that we would allow them to come down. So when we were out there, there's a few different trees. So there's one birch.
Gray birch.
Yep, there's a gray birch that has, it's alive, but it's got a lot of branches over the power lines. They'd like to trim that. We would need to remove, there's a spruce tree by the road, appears to be affected by something. There's a lot of lichens on it. So it's in decline, but they need to remove that small spruce in order to get a crane in to remove the 42-inch oak tree, whatever size it is. We have a leaning small maple by the road. There's 4 other trees there that will make up for the bit of canopy that's lost from that
The other
one.
trees are blossom.
Yep, yeah, they'll do a lot better. There are 5 hemlocks on the mid portion of her property and her neighbor's side. There's another additional 5 hemlocks from the mid portion closer to the water. Nothing's right on the water.
No, but you should indicate that those 5 hemlocks are really seriously degraded,
Oh, yeah.
probably by a deluge.
Yep. And then there's the one large oak tree that's dead right over her house. So, I don't see the need for replacement. There's a lot of trees in that area. The spruce where the lines are, I don't think we want another tree that's gonna grow up there because the lines in that area. She did talk about putting some type of hedgerow type shrubs in or something, so she will do that. I don't see any concerns based off of what we saw out there.
Well, whatever she's putting in, though, we should talk to her about berry bearing again. I don't think she caught that.
What did you say?
Berry bearing. Because she's talking about putting in some bushes. But oftentimes people are gonna be putting in like evergreen bushes. And we're really trying to support habitat.
Oh, no, I understand that. I didn't realize that she was gonna do, there's so many trees there.
Oh, we can't replace them all 2 to 1.
No, I understand.
Yeah, no,
Weren't
she
you
mentioned-
saying that you didn't see the need to do any?
Right, but she
Yes,
said she wanted
replanting.
to put something there anyways, so I don't think we need to require it.
No, it was
Okay.
her
Yeah.
suggestion
Yeah.
that she was going to put some in.
Okay.
And I just thought, at her suggestion,
Sure.
I'd like to make the suggestion equal that it was berry
Right.
bearing.
Yeah, no, that's good. Okay. It was her suggestion, not ours.
Yes, not ours.
That was my
So all in favor?
yes.
Yes.
Got that?
Perfect. And then we
Oh, come on.
have 114 Paradise. We also went out
perfect.
there. We didn't even need to get out of the car for that one. There was- So two
Windshield survey.
Drive-by.
Yeah, drive
tops are
by.
already gone off these streets. 2 deciduous, I think there were oaks on one side of the house that they're on his property, but if they fall, they're going to land on his neighbor's house. So we want to take them down. But then on the opposite side of the house, there's another oak tree that the top is dead. It still has a couple branches that are alive, so he was just asking about maybe limbing that, trying that, because he'd like to save the tree. So I think that we can allow him to limb that one while they're out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a no-brainer anyway, because the
Right.
guy wants to save every tree he can.
Yeah.
All in favor? Thank you. What's
Have
next?
you heard from Mr. Wheaton? Because he had said he was going to send you a note about further tree cutting. He
did
had
that.
more hemlocks, Boo Wheaton's house.
Yeah, we did that. The last meeting, right?
No,
In
He's got
addition,
more.
you talked to him? No.
No.
no. I thought he was going to talk to you.
I haven't heard from him. We issued a letter for that. I
We
haven't
issued
heard
a letter
anything.
just recently.
Are you
Yeah.
talking about, that? We did it twice, did we not?
Maybe it was the second time.
Yeah,
I don't know.
okay, yeah.
Just quick updates. When we had gone out at our site visit, looking at the Mount Dan Road drainage work that they're proposing, we noticed a couple things on other properties. I did write
Yeah.
letters which are gonna go out to those properties, so
Okay.
you're aware.
The one right near the dam,
Yep. Yeah, with all the pea stone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we need to have some boulders put in there that are gonna protect that area. Or something.
Yeah.
Gee whiz.
Yep, so I should be getting correspondence from them right after my letters, hopefully. Just to let you know too, quick updates, Lad Road, we had, the last meeting I said I issued a letter, there was some work on the driveway. I did go out there after that. I have some pictures I can show you. So this is the driveway that we were informed that some potential work or kind of extra, clearing of the side of the roads was occurring. I did go out there, wrote them a letter, they did come in, I went out there, met them, looked at it. It didn't really look like they're expanding much, just maybe moving back some of the vegetation, but I did notice, like, it's hard to tell in here, but all the water's coming down is going in this area. There's some erosion here. So I did talk to them about this area. This is where it's washing out.
Yep.
It's not in the wetland, but I mean, it'll eventually, if nothing's done, will make its way there. So I talked to them about kind of temporary and long-term solutions maybe for the driveway. So temporarily agreed to, go in and clean that up, take that out of there, maybe put up some straw bales in that area that'll help kind of temporarily catch sediment so it doesn't wash out. But I didn't talk about doing a silt fence, but so that way water will be able to go through too, just to kind of temporarily address that, but the need for a long-term solution, so that way erosion isn't washing down and will end up in our resource area.
Okay.
We have a problem.
Okay,
He agreed to do that?
yes?
That's our problem. He is not the landowner. He can't, all he is the driver of the equipment. He does not own the
He
property.
said he has a lease for the property.
Oh, really? He won't show you the lease. You have to see the lease or you're talking to the wrong person. Mr. Jennings does not own that property.
His name was the name that was given, so I wrote the letter
Right.
to him.
No, you wrote the letter to the right person.
Yeah.
Because they were doing the work. If you go back one slide so that you can see the roadway, let me point out just one minor fact, right there. You see where the green is, right at the very bottom left?
Yep.
Right next to that is where the culvert goes under the road with two 36-inch pipes.
Well, I think it's a step back
It
a
is-
little bit more.
yes, it's a little
So
bit
I think,
more.
like where this picture's taken is where the culverts are.
Right.
'Cause I think you
You're
can see-
standing on the culverts right now.
Right, so see, right, this is where the
Okay.
culverts are.
So now look at up the road, like
Yeah,
the
right
picture you
here.
had just before that. Just about where that sign is about where the Sturbridge line is, a little bit further up.
I think it's further
Yeah.
up the road.
It's up the road going towards where, see how we pushed it out? Right there. That was part of the widening that they were doing. And that part seems to me to be right near the feather edge of the Sturbridge-Charlton line. But that driveway that we're seeing from where the arrow is to the bottom, that driveway was put in by the owner, two previous owners for that, who got it for tax lien from his father. So he went to the town of Charlton and said, I want this landlocked land. And he bought the landlocked land by paying the back taxes. And then he put the driveway in and he paid for the telephone poles that are on the right-hand side. Mr. Jennings owns, or his mother owns, the 200 acres further back up the hill in Charlton. But they own nothing to the right-hand side, which is where the owner of the driveway is. Now, I will admit that the owner of the driveway has not lived there for a year. But that doesn't matter. We're not talking to the landowner. So we may be giving instructions to someone who does not have the right to be working on that land. We need to be, I think we need to be careful so that we don't get into he said, she said situation with that property.
All right, well, what I can do is I can find out who is, because that's the name I was given. I can find out who is and send them correspondence.
No, we know who the owner is.
Now, do
Do you want me to send them a
Probably
letter?
the best way is just to send them a letter.
yeah.
Okay.
But make it the owner that we have on in the town.
Because I think his wife is still the animal control officer in Charlton, or she was. That was her job.
Well, I think it's different, each side of the road is different ownership.
That's not what we were led to believe when Calvin bought the property. The left-hand side where the culvert is owned by Jablonski Trust. And the pond on the left-hand side is owned by Jablonski Trust. The land in Charlton on the left-hand side is owned by Iris Jennings. Brent Slew. That's the name of the owner that you should be sending the letter to.
Okay.
And Ann Slew is his wife.
I mean, it still shows that as a public way on here. It doesn't show that.
Well, we have a letter from the state police indicating clearly that it's not a public way, that it's a driveway. The public way is Bond Sawmill Road.
Okay.
So it needs to be just,
So is it okay that
Brent
someone
Slew.
cleans that up temporarily, or, I mean, I advised them to do so, because I thought it was.
you're fixing a problem that exists. If he says that he's got the rights, yeah, but we gotta let Brent Slew know what's going on.
Yeah.
Because what if Brent doesn't know what's going on and comes back and says, well, why are you letting this guy on? We're having a feud. We don't know that.
Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
yep,
I'm just trying to keep us out of trouble.
okay. I just didn't know that ahead of time before I sent the letter, so. All right, 63 New Boston Road. Got a call today. I've been working with them. This is a single-family house that's being built. You guys reviewed and approved it last year.
Oh, it's on the left-hand side as you go down New
Yeah.
Boston Road.
So I've been working with him since he started work right after I started. Been having some erosion issues. His silt fence is at the 100-foot buffer zone. It's been washing out a little bit. He's got a lot of erosion coming down the site. So I've been monitoring it, letting him know you need to fix it, repair it. So what's going on is the road here, there's a, I don't know if it's an easement, it comes out onto the neighbor's property here. The catch basins, I don't know if they're clogged cleaned as well, but there's a pipe that discharges. It's an easement DPW has supposedly to allow the discharge off this road here. So now that our site's opened up, all that's flowing down here, might have not have been an issue when it was a forested site, but there's been a lot of erosion. They're concerned. So our 200-foot is back here. What he proposed doing, and the neighbor said was okay, was doing it with a leaching pit here. He was going to fill it with crushed stone, try to catch the stormwater coming off the road. And I said, okay, well, you're outside of our 200-foot buffer zone, so okay, hopefully that'll work. DPW director was said all along, I don't think it's going to work, but I was like, well, let's try this first, and then we can, see what happens. So that was before I went on vacation. Hadn't heard from them, so thought it was okay. He called me today, said he needs to do more work. So now he wants to talk to him about, well, he wanted to connect the pipe to the existing pipe it down here, do a leaching pit down here. I said, well, if you already have the pit here, might as well try to keep
we
need
that
a
and
plan.
utilize that.
He needs to bring us a
Exactly.
plan.
Well, that's the thing, and that's what I said. So, well, we have a meeting tonight, so I can bring it up, but you weren't working, that wasn't in our jurisdiction, and now this will be.
He's going into a jurisdiction he has to commit.
Exactly, yep.
Okay.
But I said,
Right.
you have open orders. I explained the whole thing, but I said I would come to you with feedback. I mean, I thought it was fine, potentially to try to keep the leaching pit here, so at least you're getting a lot of it here
Right.
before piping it down, but then he's talking about in this area is doing some type of leach pit, but he wants to do it now. And I said, well, I'll talk to the commissioners, but that's a plan change, you'll have to come back.
Right.
But he says
That's a
they need to do it
significant-
now
Yeah,
because they
you can do
need the
it
pro,
now,
I know, I'm just explaining, but
Yeah.
the propane tank's coming, people wanna
But
move in,
why can't he
blah, blah,
make the
blah.
leach pit that he put in the first place bigger?
Bigger, right, that's
There's a lot
it.
of trees here too. I don't know.
It's
I don't know.
outside
Maybe
of our
he could. It's pretty
jurisdiction,
big. It's like
which is
8
good.
by 8 by 10. He said
What'd you
8
say,
by 8 by
Steve?
10.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's outside of our jurisdiction. He
Yeah.
can chop down trees, he can make that thing bigger.
So that's the
Once he moves into our
two
jurisdiction.
options. You can just keep it here, make your leach pit bigger,
Or you can come
Yeah.
before us.
or you're gonna have to ask for a plan change, come in front of conservation. So you can't do it yet.
One of the things I'm worried about, if he puts it within our jurisdiction and within the boundaries of the new house, is that gives the owner the responsibility for maintenance.
Yeah, it does.
And the owner doesn't know about it.
No, the owner knows about it.
Well, he might, once he
think-
gets there.
Well,
I think the owner's concerned that the town is dumping water on his property,
Yeah.
and,
Right,
Yeah, if he brings it all the way down, it's even worse.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I-
So,
think
all right,
that's-
you got the gist of
all right,
it.
they have to come back, and, I mean, the thing is, I talked to them before, went on vacation, never heard from them, thought the thing was all set, and that was over a month ago, and they just called today to say, that didn't work, we need to change it today,
Mhm.
so I did explain, so.
Good.
All right.
Nicely done.
You know that really old, very popular song? Sung by one of your favorite old-time singers?
I'll do
I'll
it
do
my,
my way. Yeah, you got it, Becky. Top 10
I know
list.
that one.
All set, Beck?
No, she's still on a roll. Come
No,
on.
that's it, but would you be open to allowing him to put the pipe with another leaching pit down there if they wanted to move forward with that proposal? Because you're taking it, because he wants
If he
to,
brings us a plan?
yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
brings us a plan.
okay. That's all I have.
Wait, I have a question. Did we sign, 64 South Shore?
Nope,
No.
that one's,
Okay.
not ready yet.
Oh, it's not ready, so.
No.
Okay.
On your travels, everybody going to the recycling center, you should take a look at the house on Breakneck, right on the left-hand side that we did all of the approvals on. But we were hesitant because they had to clean out the area where the wetland was. It is magnificent. They really did a good job, and everything is growing in there nicely now.
You're making me nervous.
No, I'm being very serious. It looks good, because one of the concerns that we had was, there was even, Eddie, help me out, was it a picket fence, or was it just barbed wire? Running right through the middle of that
yeah.
wetland.
Yeah, it was,
It was like
chicken, it was a chicken.
chicken wire.
Yeah.
Yeah, running right through the middle of it. My goodness, that thing came in, and it looks really good.
Good, yeah. I was watching him, I haven't seen it lately. But, do I have
I make a motion, we adjourn.
do I have
I'm
a-
doing it for Stephen Chidester.
Okay,
I have some discussion, but not about his motion.
Okay,
go ahead.
no second, go for it.
We need to think about what we're going to do at 272 Big Alum, or Alum Road.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a hearing, so we can talk about it. We should have an enforcement conference. What do we bring those guys in? Do we have to, do we make that part of the meeting? And we need to work up what we would present to him. And then, of course, then they're going to bring us the new plan, but I just,
We should work off of their energy, let them bring us a new plan.
exactly. But in terms of what they did already, we need to think about taking enforcement against them.
Well, we did, we issued an enforcement order.
Yeah.
You guys voted on that last time, so I did issue that the next day.
Right.
We haven't done any fining or anything of that nature.
Well, I guess that's what I meant.
I think if they move forward and they seemed cooperative tonight. That was the gist of what I got from it. If they make the corrections.
Unlike other people that we've given a notice to, at the first meeting that the owner came in, he showed genuine remorse. He said, "I didn't know, I'm sorry, I should have known. And I wasn't watching out for it, so I let the landscaper go." And it did come out beautiful. And since then, he's indicated his remorse several times.
What came out beautiful?
His backyard.
It was beautiful, and it was a
Came out
tremendous,
beautiful, but it was.
but in tremendous violation
It
of the
was a
wetlands.
tremendous violation.
Okay, so beautiful doesn't have anything to do
So now
with
we're
it.
talking about fixing the violation, even to the point of 80 cubic yards of material being brought on site in violation. So I think before we talk about fining, I always look at fining as a punishment for people not willing to fix the problem.
Right, that's what I would do. It's a
Now,
shock treatment.
maybe that's not correct.
Well, that might be the way, I mean, I'm of the, I spent 25 years with DEP, so there would be no, you did this, you will be fined. It's called deterrent factor. And maybe I've just sort of got my head screwed on wrong for being on a conservation commission where we really want the resource to be protected and not necessarily be slam dunking people for doing the wrong thing. So, if and that's something that we need to think about, and
We
we're.
really we really have to work off the cooperation of the populace to a great extent. We have power, but we really need to, we need their cooperation going forward. So let's see, I think we should see how we close the meeting, we have the next step.
Yeah.
You can bring forward anything, if they get there and they say, this is it, this is what we want,
Or for example, if they're not willing to move the house out of the 50,
Right, shut up, well then.
Well,
that would be fining,
but then they'll move it.
but they'll still have the fine.
But if we can get them to move it out without finding them or getting into that mess.
Yeah.
then we-
Well, I know I still feel
Right.
bad about that guy who brought in 600 cubic yards, and it was just a mess. And he did a beautiful job, but nevertheless, he sat there and brought in, I forgot how many, I got my notes somewhere,
He was filling a well.
10 yards, 10,
Yep.
I forgot, 60 10-yard trucks
Yeah.
dumping in there and filling that. And, okay, then he came and dug it out and fixed it, and it was beautiful and all that, but
But we rescinded the fine.
that was so, yeah, I know we shouldn't have done
I
that.
tell you, I'm still bothered by that and by this. I mean, it seems to me, if somebody's in violation, they should be some way penalized for being in violation, and then if they fix it, you can say, okay, thank you very much, that was very nice, but the violation still happened.
They have to fix it, period, so.
You have to fix it, but I mean, I don't think you should excuse people because they fixed it. I think they need to know from the get-go that they can't just redesign something at their whim and have us turn around and say, well, that was very nice of you to fix it.
Yeah.
I really think people need to know from the beginning that if they screw up, they need to face the consequences.
In this particular case, I agree with Paul that I too made mistakes in the past about that. But in this particular case, it is going to cost the man a lot to take out a 2-foot-high retaining wall that's on the property.
That he already paid for.
He's going to have to take out the patio that the cabana or cabin or deck or whatever you call it
Yeah.
is on, as well as move it, and then he's going to have to pay to have it all done again the right way someplace else.
There's there's a tremendous value for the people on that lake to be riding around with their boat and seeing that guy rip out all the crap, because we get
Correct.
complaints.
Correct.
And we will get a lot of bennies, or whatever you want to call it, a lot of creds by making him, be careful because we're on tape and all that, but that'll be good to have him do that.
Because I really don't want to have a public meeting about a site after we don't have them here, and we don't have.
Well, we also did not have a public hearing about it.
No, I know, but it was on the agenda.
My point is, I don't want to wait until we're in a meeting with him and then have this discussion. We need to, and I'm open for whatever.
Yeah, well,
but
that's a part of being a committee, though. We have to argue it out and have opinions and do it in front of people.
But I think that Steve is right. I think we should have a plan for what we really want. What if they come in with something that's completely off the wall?
That's different than what I'm talking about. I'm talking about they did not follow the plan. There are many of the conditions, they did not notify us before they started working. And they did a lot of things, and then there's after that. And it's two separate things. Now, I agree, if they come in with a great plan, a great plan, and they do it, and the guy is remorseful, you take that into consideration. I've had people lean across my desk and say, "What are you going to do about it? I already did it." When I was a deputy director, and I said, "You just made a big mistake." Because, we have the.
Well, we agree with you on both those cases. If they come for, my personal opinion is that, in this case, he's cooperating and we move forward in that direction. If we get to a point where he brings us something that doesn't satisfy us as a majority, then we have to find it.
Okay, I see those as totally separate things. If he comes to us with a plan and we just say, well, we're not going to accept it, you've got to go back and dig that out, and that's the end of it. And if he ever, he's going to have a lien on.
He's in violation, and we start to fine him.
Okay, I think it's a philosophical way of approaching these violations. I gave a guy that was the bulldozer driver a $1,000 penalty, and it ended all that crap, where they'd come in and say, well, the owner told me to do it. I go, how long have you been in this business? 25 years. That's going to cost you $1,000.
Yeah.
And that was the last time that those guys, because it's a small community. Now, these guys, I don't think that was the level of what I fined the guy the $1,000 for. He had a bulldozer out in a lake. So that was kind of grim. But,
Yeah, that would.
so, but this, I have a little bit of a problem, and I really lost sleep over letting that guy go with that 600 cubic yards filled in that wetland. There should have been some kind of a penalty. And we're not set up to do like slam dunk like they do at DEP.
See, that's the problem.
So, and we are supposed to like guide people, and we can do after the fact. I mean, I read the guidelines for being a commissioner. Do an after the fact application, things like that, to try to not be Nazis about it. But also, you've got to have that deterrent. And making them change it, making them dig it out, and all that, I think that's like number one. And after that, we need to think about, okay, what do we do? The guy had the plan, he had the order of conditions, he's standing out there and he says, I want grass all the way down to the lake. I want a house there, I want a shed there, I'm gonna add a new patio. It's like, come on, man.
I agree. I mean, I really think, I agree with Steve, it's two separate issues. The fact that there was a set of conditions that were violated and that need to be addressed, and the new plans that were developed supposedly to redress the things they did afterwards. I mean, you're talking two different issues there, and I think what we're doing is we're combining them and saying, well, they fixed it, so let's let it go. Let's thank them for doing what they're doing, and go about our business. And
Yeah.
there's something wrong with that. As far as I can see, when somebody violates those rules, they need to know from the get-go that, I'm sorry, fella, you screwed up, you're gonna be given a penalty for screwing up, now fix it. And then once they fix it, then you can go ahead and then they say, okay, we'll.
Screw up sounds like they made a mistake. There was no mistake.
No,
So-
I meant, okay,
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Just take that word back.
okay, I take the word back.
They intentionally,
They intentionally screwed up. If they would have accidentally screwed up, then you can go ahead and say, well, all right.
all right, man, we can write a dictionary. Anyway, and it's just something that I want to see those things separated, and I think we should have with the fellow with the 600 cubic yards. And I'm not, and we don't have the capability or the willpower, or whatever you want to call it, to like really cost this guy a lot of money. I mean, he'd be in deep trouble with this if we said we don't know how to handle this, we turned it over to DEP. They would really come after him.
No, they wouldn't. Because he's not on the lake.
He's not on the lake?
In the lake.
Oh.
You guys, we're talking buffer zones here, our buffer zones.
Yeah, it's outside the 100.
Well, no,
You guys,
no, it's within the 25.
Yeah, but no, you're wrong there.
It's inside the 100.
Yeah, I know that, but you wouldn't be talking a lot of money with DEP on this.
Okay.
Well, what does our enforcement order letter say, Becky?
I think you're right. I probably misspoke on that. You're right. The DEP
We
would.
spent a lot of time on this. We do, we spend a lot of time on this, and we really all agree, but we really do all agree. I mean, there's nobody that's
Right.
really off, but how to get there is really hard.
I know.
And then you gotta involve you got the Leon or the town manager, or you gotta involve, and it's a lot of work.
Remember, we had the 750
Yeah.
that we came up with. That was a lot of work to do that.
Yeah.
For that other project, and then we forgave
And
it.
then we don't, then in the end, we don't even take the money.
You know,
Let me hear what Becky's, this is the enforcement letter that we sent. Maybe this will give us some guidance.
So we have an enforcement order that he's in violation of his orders and conditions, and then I drafted a letter to go with it, just saying, that he came to our meeting. We voted to issue an enforcement order in response to activities conducted in areas subject to the Wetlands Protection Act and our local bylaw. Activities are in violation of the valid orders and conditions, the number, and then I had to state which conditions he was in violation of. Please find the attached enforcement order. As discussed, all work shall cease and desist on this property. Activities associated with the remodeling of the interior and exterior siding of the house can occur. No work on patios or decks. You are responsible to maintain all erosion controls. As discussed, a restoration plan shall be developed to bring this project back into compliance. I asked for a draft restoration plan that would be submitted to us by August 9th, and then said that we perform a site visit upon receipt of that plan. We didn't receive their draft restoration plan, but they did send us the existing condition one. I said discussion of this project and plan will be scheduled at our meeting here. We hope to reach a resolution to bring this back into compliance in order to release our cease and desists. Failure to comply with the enforcement order may result in additional enforcement activities.
Right. That's my point in having you read that letter. Because in our bylaws, if I recall correctly, what we say is we send out a letter as a warning. And if they don't pay attention to the warning, there will be fines, and the fines begin after the warning has been ignored. In this case, the guy took the warning and said, mea culpa, I'm going to fix it, and I'm bringing in engineers and let's fix it.
And he's already spent.
And I think he's already starting to do that. What I was trying to do is reinforce our bylaw, which says you have to send a warning before you can ever think about fining. And I think that's what the letter that says.
that is what our bylaw says?
Yeah.
Yep. Written warning is your first
Yeah, written
violation.
warning.
Second
Okay.
is $25.
And as far as I'm concerned, the written warning is the enforcement order that we sent.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I did send a letter before that, just saying you are in violation.
Yeah.
So it was.
But in order to back it up, we got the enforcement letter sent.
Yeah.
That way there's an official warning, mess up again on the site, and we have to hit you with fines.
Yeah.
And like you said, we don't have the same teeth. I mean, even the maximum fine for all of that would be $100 a day.
Starting when?
I think it
That-
starts with the violation.
When the violation.
I think, but the first warning is the letter, so maybe it has to be the day.
Has to be the day after.
letter.
Yeah.
Starting when we send the bloody letter.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we're thinking about that and on the same page and have come up with some sort of an agreement to move forward. And I think clearly, and it says it right in the instructions for being a Concom member, is to fix it, is the huge
Yep.
thing. It's number one.
Yep.
Okay.
Perhaps we should have said in the meeting that if Becky gets the plan, when she gets the plan, prior to the meeting, and the plan doesn't move
Right.
stuff out, that we send a letter that day so that we have that in place for the
Yeah.
day of the meeting.
Well, we can also tell them at the meeting, that deck in that house that you got that were a violation before are still a violation. If they stay there, we're gonna start fining you every day.
Right, and we will do that. We should do that.
Because they
Yeah.
already have
Yeah.
a notice of the violation.
Yeah.
Would you
Okay.
like me to send another letter just summarizing the meeting and what we expect at?
No, if they screw up after all the comments that they got from us, God bless them.
Well, I mean, in response to what you just said, that we would get a plan ahead of time. If it doesn't meet
Yeah.
that, then
Yeah, I think
It's
that.
not,
Would you not
it's not our responsibility anymore. They've got their marching orders, and we specifically asked them if they had their marching orders. Becky has enough to do without holding their hand through the process. If they can't handle it, if they're not professional enough to fix the problem that they created, then when they come back into us,
Well, the last sentence
Right.
essentially says what you're saying. You've already been told.
they've been
You're
told,
right.
bang.
Of your sentence. If
You should not have to put more work into this, Becky.
Yeah, I think I agree with Becky. I'd send it to him, because it furthers along the assurance that we'll get what we want. And I'm trying to get this thing done, I'm not trying to,
We're gonna get what we want, but we should not have her doing more work for them. They're already paying 2 professional consultants to take care of the
Right.
problem.
Okay.
And Becky gets not a penny. Our commission pays for Becky.
I think we should start paying Becky.
yeah. Right now.
I'll tell you what, you can have all of my salary.
All right,
Thank you.
in that loop.
And I'll share
do I
it
have a
with you.
motion to,
Okay, I'm glad we had that discussion.
Yeah.
And we'll have it again when Stephen gets here.
I made my previous motion, but with.
I'll second it now.
Okay, all in favor? Good night, gentlemen.
And ladies.
You do get to go home early like you wanted.
I know.